Hey there, guys and gals, it's me, El Capitan Muerte himself, Captain Death, here to tell you guys about an exciting new announcement I have that I'm going to put online here for a couple of the episodes. We have a new merch store up on redbubble.com, www.redbubble.com/people/El Capitan Muerte. Buy a sticker. It's like $3. Have fun. You do you. Anyways, moving on to the show. Thank you all so much for your patronage, and stay spoopy.
It's alive! It's alive! Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek. We're so sorry, skeletons, you're so misunderstood. You only want to socialize, but I don't think we should. A spooky, scary skeleton shouts startling, shrilly screams. They'll sneak under sarcophagus and just won't leave you be. Spooky, scary, spooky, scary, spooky, scary, spooky, scary, scary.
My Immortal, Chapter 1. Hi, my name is Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway.
Wow.
And I have long, ebony black hair. That's how I got my name. With purple streaks and red tips that reaches my mid-back and icy blue eyes like limpid tears. And a lot of people tell me I look like Amy Lee.
What are you doing?
If you don't know who she is, get the hell out of here. I'm not related to Gerard Way, but I wish I was, because he's a major fucking hottie. I'm a vampire, but my teeth are straight and white. I have pale white skin. I'm also a witch, and I go to a magic school called Hogwarts in England, where I'm in my 7th year. I'm 17. I'm a goth, in case you couldn't tell, and I wear mostly black. I love Hot Topic, and I buy all my clothes from there. For example, today I was wearing a black corset with matching lace around it, and a black leather miniskirt, pink fishnets, and black combat boots. I was wearing black lipstick, white foundation, black eyeliner, and red eyeshadow. I was walking outside Hogwarts. It was snowing and raining, so there was no sun, which I was very happy about. A lot of preps stared at me. I put up my middle finger at them. "Hey, Ebony!" shouted a voice. I looked up. It was Draco Malfoy.
What's up, Draco?
Nothing. But then I heard my friends call me and I had to go away. Chapter 2. The next day I woke up in my bedroom. It was snowing and raining again. I opened the door of my coffin and drank some blood from a bottle I had. My coffin was black ebony, and inside it was hot pink velvet with black lace on the ends. I got out of my coffin and took off my giant MCR t-shirt, which I used for pajamas. Instead, I put on a black leather dress, a pentagram necklace, combat boots, and black fishnets on. I put on 4 pairs of earrings in my pierced ears and put my hair in a kind of messy bun. My friend Willow woke up then and grinned at me. She flipped her long, waist-length raven black hair with pink streaks and opened her forest green eyes. She put on her Marilyn Manson shirt with a black mini fishnets and pointy high-heeled boots. We put on our makeup, black lipstick, white foundation, and black eyeliner. Oh my fucking god, I saw you talking to Draco Malfoy yesterday.
Yeah, so?
Do you like Draco? She asked as we went out of the Slytherin common room and into the Great Hall.
No, I so fucking don't.
Yeah, right. Just then, Draco walked up to me. Hi.
Hi.
Guess what?
What?
Well, Good Charlotte are having a concert in Hogsmeade.
Oh, my fucking god.
I screamed. I love GC. They're my favorite band besides MCR. Well, do you want to go with me? Chapter 3. On the night of the concert, I put on my black lace-up boots with high heels. Underneath them were ripped red fishnets. Then I put on a black leather mini dress with all the corset stuff on the back and front. I put on matching fishnets on my arms. I straightened my hair and made it look all spiky. I felt a little depressed then, so I slit one of my wrists. I read a depressing book while I waited for it to stop bleeding and listened to some GC. I painted my nails black and put on tons of black eyeliner. Then I put on some black lipstick. I didn't put on foundation because I was pale anyway. I drank some human blood, so I was ready to go to the concert. I went outside. Draco was waiting there in front of his flying car. He was wearing a Simple Plan tee. They would play at the show too. Baggy black skater pants, black nail polish, and a little eyeliner. A lot for cool boys wear it, okay?
Hi, Draco.
Hi, Ebony, he said back. We walked into his flying black Mercedes-Benz. The license plate said 666 and flew to the place with the concert. On the way, we listened excitedly to Good Charlotte and Marilyn Manson. We both smoked cigarettes and drugs. When we got there, we both hopped out of the car. We went to the mosh pit at the front of the stage and jumped up and down as we listened to Good Charlotte. You come in cold, you're covered in blood, they're all so happy you've arrived. The doctor cuts your cord, hangs to your mom, she sets you free into the slap. I don't know Good Charlotte, I'm not gay. It's not that one, I'm sorry.
Joy is so fucking hot.
I said to Draco, pointing to him as he sung, filling the club with his amazing voice. Suddenly, Draco looked sad.
What's wrong?
As we moshed to the music, I caught on.
Hey, it's okay. I don't like him better than you.
Really? Asked Draco sensitively, and he put his arm around me all protective.
Really?
I said.
Besides, I don't even know her, and he going out with Hillary fucking Duff. I fucking hate that little bitch.
I said disgustedly, thinking of her ugly blonde face. The night went on really well and I had a great time, so did Draco. After the concert, we drank some beer and asked Benji and Joel for their autographs and photos with them. We got GC concert tees. Draco and I crawled back into the Mercedes-Benz, but Draco didn't go back into Hogwarts. Instead, he drove his car into the Forbidden Forest.
Oh, shit.
You're coming in this scene and you come flying in like a jackass. I hope you're ready. Chapter 4.
Draco!
I shouted.
What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Draco didn't answer, but he stopped the flying car and he walked out of it. I walked out of it too, curiously.
What the fucking hell?
Ebony.
What?
Draco leaned in extra close and looked into his gothic red eyes. He was wearing color contacts, which revealed so much depressing sorrow and evilness. And then suddenly I didn't feel mad anymore. And then, suddenly, just as Draco kissed me passionately, Draco climbed on top of me, and we started to make out keenly against a tree. He took off my top and I took off his clothes. I even took off my bra. Then he put his thingy in my you-know-what, and we did it for the first time. I screamed. I was beginning to get an orgasm. We started to kiss everywhere, and my pale body became warm. And then... Do it! All right, let's...
What the hell are you doing, you motherfuckers?
It was... Dumbledore!
Hold up real quick. Or when you said no erotica, what the fuck?
Chapter 5! Dumbledore made Draco and I follow him. He kept shouting at us angrily.
You ludicrous! You ludicrous fools!
I started to cry tears of blood down my pallid face. Draco comforted me. When we went back to the castle, Dumbledore took us to Professor Snape and Professor McGonagall, who were both looking very angry.
They're So we're having sexual intercourse in the forbidden forest.
He yelled in a furious voice. Why did you do such a thing, you mediocre dunces? Asked Professor McGonagall.
How dare you?
Demanded Professor Snape. And then Draco shrieked, because I love her. Everyone was quiet. Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall still looked mad, but Professor Snape said,
Friend, very well. You may go up to your rooms.
Draco and I went upstairs while the teachers glared at us. Are you okay, Ebony?
Yeah, I guess.
I lied. I went to the girls' dorm and brushed my teeth and hair and changed into a low-cut black floor-length dress with red lace all around it and black high heels when I came out. Draco was standing in front of the bathroom and he started to sing I Just Want to Live by Good Charlotte. I was so flattered, even though he wasn't supposed to be there. We hugged and kissed, and after that we said goodnight and he reluctantly went back to his room. Chapter 6! The next day I woke up in my coffin. I put on a black miniskirt that was all ripped up around the end and matched and topped with red skulls all over it, and high-heeled boots that were black. I put on 2 pairs of skull earrings and 2 crosses in my ears. I sprayed and painted my hair with purple. In the Great Hall, I ate some Count Chocula cereal with blood instead of milk, and a glass of red blood. Suddenly, someone bumped into me. All the blood spilled all over my top.
A bastard!
I shouted angrily. I regretted saying it when I looked up because I was looking into the pale white face of a gothic boy with spiky black hair with red streaks in it. He was wearing so much eyeliner that I was going down his face, and he was wearing black lipstick. He didn't even have glasses anymore, and now he was wearing red contact lenses like Draco's, and there was no scar on his forehead. He had a manly stubble on his chin. He had a sexy English accent. He looked exactly like Joel Madden. He was so sexy that my body went all hot when I saw him, kind of like an erection, only I'm a girl, so I didn't get one, you sicko.
Hey, I'm so sorry.
Harry!
Just said that he had a British accent.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I want you to do your fucking childish Harry voice.
Oi, cunt, I'm so sorry.
Come on. Real Harry voice.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good.
I don't like it.
I like it. Why does he get to Asian bullshit voice?
Because his character's bullshit. I wanted his little...
I'm Ebony Reed!
I wanted
Read the description
I
of
wanted
Harry.
his little... Hagrid, I'm not coming out! I'm fucking masturbating! I wanted that voice.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't have a scar, he doesn't have.
I'm so sorry.
That's alright. What's your name?
My name's Harry Potter. Although most people call me Vampire these days.
Why?
Because I love the taste of human blood.
Where? I'm a vampire.
Really?
Yeah.
We sat down to talk for a while. Then Draco came up behind me and told me he had a surprise for me, so I went away with him. Chapter 7, Bring Me to Life. Draco and I held our pale white hands with black nail polish as we went upstairs. I was wearing red Satanist sings on my nails in red nail polish. I waved to Vampire. Dark misery was in his depressed eyes. I guess he was jealous of me that I was going out with Draco. Anyway, I went upstairs excitedly with Draco. We went into his room and locked the door. Then we started Frenching passively and we took off each other's clothes enthusiastically. He felt me up before I took off my top. Then I took off my black leather bra and he took off his pants. We went on the bed and started making out naked, and then he put his boy's thingy in mine and we had sex. See, is that stupid?
Draco!
I screamed while getting an orgasm when all of a sudden I saw a tattoo I had never seen before on Draco's arm. It was a black heart with an arrow through it. On it, in bloody, gothic writing, were the words, Vampire! I was so angry.
You bastard!
I jumped angrily, jumping out of the bed. No, but you don't understand, Draco pleaded. but I knew too much.
No, you fucking idiot!
I shouted.
You probably have AIDS anyway!
I put on my clothes all huffily and then stomped out. Draco ran out even though he was naked. He had a really big you-know-what, but I was too mad to care. I stomped out and did so until I was in Vampire's classroom, where we was having a lesson with Professor Snape and some other people.
Vampire Potter, you motherfucker!
Chapter 8. Everyone in the class stared at me, and then Draco came into the room even though he was naked, and started begging me to take him back. Ebony, it's not what you think! Draco screamed sadly. My friend Bloody Mary Smith smiled at me understatedly. She flipped her long waist-length gothic black hair and opened her crimson eyes like blood that she was wearing contact lenses on. She had pale white skin and she was wearing white makeup. Hermione was kidnapped when she was born. Her real parents are vampires and one of them is a witch, but Voldemort killed her mother and her father committed suicide because he was depressed about it. She still has nightmares about it, and she is very haunted and depressed. It also turns out her real last name is Smith and not Granger. Since she converted to Satanism, she's a Slytherin now, not Gryffindor.
What is it that you desire?
Snake to me, I called him Snake. Snape demeaned angrily in his cold voice, but I ignored him.
Vampire, I can't believe you cheated on me with Draco.
Everyone gasped. I don't know why Ebony was so mad at me. I went out with Vampire. I'm bi, and so is Ebony, for a while, but then he broke my heart. He dumped me because he liked Brittany, a stupid preppy fucker. We were just good friends now. He had gone through horrible problems, and now he was gothic. I liked like I would ever hang out with a prep.
God, the fucking snake.
Give me a second to catch up here. I gotta catch up with Harry's voice.
Do you remember episode like 21 where we were doing the Hagrid, don't come in here, Hagrid.
Oh, that one. Okay. Oh, you cunt! But I'm not going it.
Go, do it,
But I'm not going out with Draco anymore.
said Vampire.
Yeah, fucking right. Fuck off. Oh, it's not Asian anymore. I'm losing Asian. You bastard! You bastard!
I screamed. I ran out of the room and into the Forbidden Forest where I had lost my virility to Draco, and then I started to bust into tears. Chapter 9. I was so mad and sad. I couldn't believe Draco for cheating on me. I began to cry against the tree where I did it with Draco. Then all of a sudden, a horrible man with red eyes and no nose started flying towards me on a broomstick. He didn't have a nose, basically like Voldemort in the movie, and he was wearing all black, but it was obvious he wasn't gothic. It was Voldemort!
No!
I shouted in a scared voice, but then Voldemort shouted,
Yeah, perish!
and I couldn't run away.
Crookshanks!
I shouted at him. Voldemort fell off his broom and started to scream. I felt bad for him, even though I'm a sadist, so I stopped.
I don't even know what his voice
Ebony.
is supposed to be.
Just do fucking Voldemort.
Ebony! Thou must kill Harry Potter!
Are you a godfather?
Yeah.
I thought about Vampire and his sexy eyes and his gothic black hair and how his face looks like Joel Madden. I remembered that Draco had said I didn't understand, so I thought, what if Draco went out with Vampire before I went out with him and they broke up?
No! Voldemort!
Voldemort gave me a gun.
No! Please, sir! Thou must! If thou dost not, then I shall kill the beloved Draco. How did you do?
Voldemort got a dude, you're so retarded look on his face.
I have telekinesis. And if you does not kill Vampire, then thou know what will happen to Draco.
Then he flew away. That was perfect.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I want to say that you are channeling him right now. Then he flew away angrily on his broomstick. I was so scared and mad, I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, Draco came into the woods.
Draco! Hey!
Great.
Hi. he said back, but his face was all sad. He was wearing white foundation and messy eyeliner, kind of like a pentagram, between Joel Madden and Gerard Way.
Are you okay?
No.
I'm sorry I got all mad at you, but I thought you cheated on me.
That's okay. He said all depressed, and we went back into Hogwarts together making out. Chapter 10! I was really scared about Voldemort all day. I was even upset when to rehearsals with my gothic metal band, Bloody Gothic Rose 666. I am the lead singer of it, and I play guitar. People say that we sound a cross between GC, Slipknot, and MCR. The other people in the band are Bloody Mary, Vampire Draco, Ron, although we call him Diabolo now. He has black hair and blue streaks in it. And Hargrid. Only today, Draco and Vampire were depressed, so they weren't coming, and we wrote songs instead. I knew Draco was probably slitting his wrists. He wouldn't die because he was a vampire too, and only way you can kill vampires with a CROSS. There's no way I'm writing that, or a stake, and Vampire was probably watching a depressing movie like The Corpse Bride. I put on a black leather shirt that showed off my boobs and tiny matching miniskirt that said Simple Plan on the butt. You might think I'm a slut, but I'm really not. We were singing a cover of Helena, and at the end of the song I suddenly burst into tears.
Ebony, are you okay?
Bloody Mary asked in his concerted voice.
What the fuck do you think?
I asked angrily, and then I said,
Where Voldemort came, and the fucking bastard told me to fucking cure Harry. But I don't want to cure him, because he's really nice. Even if he did go out with Draco. But if I no cure Harry, then Voldemort will fucking cure Draco. I burst into tears. Suddenly Draco jumped out from behind a wall. Why didn't you fucking tell me? How could you fucking poser muggle bitch! I started to cry and cry. Draco started to cry too, all sensitive. Then he ran out crying. We practiced for 1 more hour. Then suddenly Dumbledore walked in angrily. His eyes were all fiery, and I knew this time it wasn't because he had a headache. What have you done? He started to cry, wisely. That's basically not swearing, and this time he was really upset, and you will see why.
Is that me?
Uh-huh. Hagrid. Or Dumbledore.
Ebony Draco has been found in his room. He committed suicide by slitting his wrist.
Chapter 11. I screamed. I was horrified. Bloody Mary tried to comfort me, but I told her to fuck off, and I ran to my room crying. Dumbledore chased after me shouting, but he had to stop when I went into my room, because he would look like a perv that way.
Oh.
Anyway, I started crying tears of blood, and then I slit both my wrists. They had got all over my clothes, so I took them off and jumped in the bath angrily, while I put on Linkin Park on full volume. I grabbed a stake and almost stuck it in my heart to commit suicide. I was so fucking depressed. I got out of the bathtub and put on a black low-cut dress with lace all over it, sadly. I put on black high heels with pink metal stuff on the ends and 6 pairs of skull earrings. I couldn't fucking believe it. Then I looked out the window and screamed. Snap was smiling on me and he was taking a videotape of me, and Lupin was masticating to it. They were sitting on their broomsticks.
Ew, you fucking baby! Stop looking at my naked! Are you pedals or what?
I screamed, putting on a black towel with a picture of Marilyn Manson on it. Suddenly, Vampire ran in.
Abracadabra!
He yelled at Snape and Lupin, pointing his womb. I took my gun and shot Snape and Lupin a gazillion times, and they both started screaming, and the camera broke suddenly. Dumbledore ran in.
Everything has been revealed that someone has... No!
Shouted, looking at Snape and Lupin, and then he waved his wand. Suddenly, Hagrid ran outside to his broom and said, "Everyone, we need to talk."
Is that me?
I'm gonna say Dumbledore.
What do you know, Hagrid? You're just a little Hogwarts student. I may be a I may be a Hogwarts student, but I'm also a Satanist. Wait, hold up. Let me redo that one. This cannot be.
I think the first one was
I think
better.
the first one was better.
Whatever.
Snap said in a crisp voice as blood dripped from his hand where Dumbledore's wand had shot him.
There must be other factors.
You don't have any!
Yelled in madly. Lupin held up a camera triumphantly. The lens may be ruined, but the tape is still there. I felt faint, more than I normally do, like how it feels when you do not drink enough blood. Why are you doing this? Lupin said angrily while he rubbed his dirty hands on his cloak. And then I heard the words that I heard before, but not from him. I did not know whether to feel shocked and happy to bite him and drink his blood. I felt faint.
Because,
Hagrid said, and he paused in the air dramatically, waving his wand in the air, then swooped he in singing to the tune of a gothic version of a song by 50 Cent.
Because you're gothic?
Snap asked in a little afraid voice, because he was afraid it meant he was connected with Satan.
Because I love her!
Chapter 12. I was about to slit my wrists again with the silver knife that Drago had given me in case anything happened to him. He told me to use it valiantly against an enemy, but I knew that we must both go together.
No!
I thought it was Hagrid, but it was Vampire. He started to scream.
I'm a freaking cat! No! My scar hurts!
And then his eyes rolled up. You could only see his red whites. I stopped.
How did you know? I saw it! And my scar! It turned back into a lightning bolt!
I ran up closer.
I thought you did have scar number!
Okay.
You can't scream this line.
I do! But Diabolo changed it into a pentagram for me! They're always covering up for foundation. Anyway, my scar hurt and then turned back into a lightning bolt, saved me. Then I had a vision of what was happening to Draco. Voldemort, House of Bondage.
Anyway, I was in the school nurse's office now recovering from my slit wrists. Snap and Lupin and Harry were there too. They were going to St. Mungo's after they recovered because they were pedophiles, and you can't have those fucking perps teaching in a school with lots of hot girls. Dumbledore had constipated the studio camera they took of me naked. I put up my middle finger at them. Anyway, Hagrid came into my hospital bed holding a bouquet of pink roses.
Ebony, I need to tell you something.
Is it Bobby?
He said in a V-serious voice, giving me the roses.
Oh, fuck off!
I told him.
You know, I freaking hate the color pink anyway, and I don't like fucked up pimp like you.
Hagrid had been mean to me before for being gothic.
No, Annabelle, those are not roses.
What? Are they ghosts to you, prip?
I asked because I was angry that he had brought me pink roses.
I saved your life!
No, you did. You saved me from getting a Heron pee video you made a shower scene and being viewed by Snap and Lupin.
Who masturbated? Is that spelled wrong? To it, he added silently.
Whatever.
He pointed his wand at the pink roses.
These aren't roses.
He suddenly looked at them with an evil look in his eye and muttered,
Well, if you wanted honesty, that's all you had to say.
That's not how you spell an MCR song.
I know. I was just warming up my vocal cords. Peddless Rumble, Mies Cremasil Ramasil.
For all you cool gothic MCR fans out there, that is a tribute, specialty for Raven. I love you, girl.
Imunatu Ukeo!
And then the roses turned into a huge black flame floating in the middle of the air, and it was black. Now I knew he wasn't a prep.
Okay, I believe you now. WTF is Draco?
Hagrid rolled his eyes. I looked into the balls of flame, but I could see nothing.
You see, Enobi,
Watching the two of us, watching the flame.
to see what is in the
Flames!
You reviewers, flames, get it?
You must find yourself first, King!
Oh,
I have found myself okay, you mean old man.
Dumbledore looked shocked.
Dumbledore.
I guess he didn't have a headache, or else he would have said something back. Hagrid stormed off back into his bed.
You are a liar, Professor Dumbledore.
Anyway, when I got better, I went upstairs and put on black leather mini dress that was all ripped on the ends with lace on it. There was some corset stuff on the front. Then I put on black fishnets and black high-heeled boots with pictures of Billy Joel Armstrong on them. I put my hair all around me so I looked like Samara from The Ring. If you don't know who she is, you're a prep, so fuck off. And I put on blood red lipstick, black eyeliner, and black lip gloss.
You look kawaii, girl.
Bloody Mary said sadly.
Thanks. Get it? You do too.
I said sadly too, but I was still upset. I slit both of my wrists, feeling totally depressed, and I sucked all the blood. I cried again in my bathroom and put the shades on the snap and Lupin couldn't spy on me this time. I went to some classes. Vampire was in the hair of magical creatures. He looked all depressed because Draco had disappeared and he had been in love with Draco. He was sucking some blood from a Hufflepuff. Huh, he said in a depressed way.
Hi, Beck.
I said in an equally sad way. We both looked at each other for some time. Harry had beautiful red gothic eyes so much like Draco's. Then, we jumped on each other and started screwing each other.
Stop it now, you horny simpletons!
Shouted Professor McGonagall, who was watching us, and so was everyone else.
Goggle, you missed that one.
Fuck! Said Professor McGoggle, who was watching us, and so was everyone else.
Vampire, you fucker!
Slapping him.
Stop trying to screw me! You know I love Draco!
I shouted, and then I ran away angrily. Just then he started to scream.
Oh, you're looking good! Oh, my skirts!
And then his eyes rolled up. You could only see his red whites.
No!
I ran up closer.
I thought you hadn't had scar no more!
I shouted.
I like that this is the same reported fucking part. Wait,
Yeah, basically.
wait, is it? Yeah,
Just keep going.
Okay.
I did, but Diablo changed into a pentagram for me, and I was covered up with foundation.
He said back.
And when my scar hurts, and I had a vision of what was happening to Draco Voldemort has bondage.
Special thanks to Raven, my Gothic's blood sister. What the fuck you're supposed to read this? Hey, Raven, do you know my sweater eye? Chapter 13!
I appreciate that you switched Harry to Jenny from the block.
Vampire and I ran up the stairs looking for Dumbledore. We were so scared.
Dumbledore! Dumbledore! Dumbledore!
Dumbledore came there.
What is it you want now, you despicable snobs?
We shouted at the same time. He laughed in an evil voice.
No, don't!
No. This is you did the laugh. They have the next one.
Alright, 3, 2, 1.
We need to save Draco!
No!
Whoa.
I don't give a damn. What Voldemort does Draco? Not after how much he misbehaved in school, especially with you boy.
He said while he frowned at me.
Besides, I never liked him that much anyway.
Then he walked away. Vampire started crying.
Draco!
He moaned. Don't you think gay guys are like so hot?
It's okay.
I tried to tell him, but that didn't stop him. He started to cry tears of blood. Then he had a brainstorm.
Oh, hey, I had an idea.
What?
Yeah, you'll see, I guess.
He took out his wand and did a spell. Then suddenly we were in Voldemort's lair. We ran into our wands out just so we heard a croon voice say,
Where are we?
Alakadabra.
Alakadabra.
It was Voldemort Chapter 14. Warning. Some of this chapter is extremely scry. Viewer discretion advised. We ran to where Voldemort was. It turned out that Voldemort wasn't there. Instead, the fat guy who killed Cedric was. Draco was there crying tears of blood. Snaketail was torturing him. Vampire and I ran in front of Snaketail.
Who is this?
Wormtail, the one who's the rat. Anyone?
Read my sight, you despicable preps.
That was pretty good. He shouted as we started shooting him with the gun. Then suddenly he looked at me and fell down with a lovey-dovey look in his eyes.
Ebony, I love you. Will you have sex with me?
He said, in this he is 16 years old, so he's not a pedophile.
Ebony, I love you. Will you have sex with me?
Asked Snaketail. I started laughing crudely.
What the fuck? You torture my BF, and then you expect me to fuck you? God, you are so fucked up, you fuck bastard!
Then I stabbed him in his heart. Blood poured out of it like a fountain.
No!
He screamed. He started screaming and running around. Then he fell down and died. I burst into tears sadly.
Snaketail, what's out there?
Voldemort. Then he started coming. We could hear his high heels clacking to us. So we got on our broomsticks and we flew to Hogwarts. We went to my room. Vampire went away. That's when I started crying. What's wrong, honey? Asked Draco, taking off his clothes so we could screw. He had a sex pack. Get it? Because he's so sexy. And a really huge you-know-what and everything.
It's so unfair. Why can't I just be ugly or plain like all the other girl prep here except for Bloody Mary? Because she not ugly or anything.
Why would you want to be ugly? I don't like the preps anyway. They're such fucking sluts.
Yeah, but everyone is in love with me. Like Snape and Lupin took a view of me naked. Hagrid said he loved me. Vampire like me, and not every snake terror is in love with me. I just want to be with you. Okay, Draco? Why couldn't Satan have made me rest beautiful?
I shouted angrily, and don't worry, Ennaby isn't a snob or anything, but I love a lot of people have told her eyes are pretty.
I'm good at too many things. Why couldn't I just be normal? It's a fucking curse.
I shouted and then I ran away. Chapter 15. Ebony! Ebony! Shouted Draco sadly. No, please, come back. But I was too mad.
Whatever. Now you can't go have sex with a vampire.
I stormed in my room and closed my black door with my blood-red key. It had a picture of Marilyn Manson on it. He looked so sexy in a way that reminded me of Draco and Vampire. I started to cry and weep. I took a razor and started to slit my wrists. I drank the blood all depressed. Then I looked at my black GC watch and noticed it was time to go to biology class. I put on a short, ripped, black gothic dress that said Anarchy on the front in blood-red letters. It was all ripped up and a spanky belt. Under that, I put on ripped black fishnets and boots that said Joel all over them with blood-red letters. I put my ebony black hair out. Anyway, I went downstairs feeling all sad and depressed as usual. I did some advanced biology work. I was turning a bloody pentagram into a black guitar. Suddenly, the guitar turned into Draco. Ennaby, I love you, he shouted sadly. I don't care what those fucker preps and poser think. You're the most beautiful girl in the world. Before I met you, I used to want to commit suicide all the time. Now I just want to fucking be with you. I fucking love you. Then he started to sing to Chronicles of Life and Death. We considered it our song now because we fell in love when Joel was singing it. Right in front of the entire class. His singing voice was so amazing and gothic and sexy, like a cross between Gerard, Joel, Chester Pierre, and Marilyn Manson. Don't you think those guys are so hot?
Oh my fucking god!
I said after he was finished. Some fucking prep stared at us, but I just stuck up my middle fingers that were covered in black nail polish and were intertwined with Draco's now. At them.
I love you!
I said, and then we started to kiss, just like Hilary Duff. I fucking hate that bitch. And CMM in A Cinderella Story. Then we went away holding hands. Lupin shouted at us, but we stopped because everyone was clapping about how sexy we looked together. Then I saw a poster saying that MCR would have a concert in Hogsmeade right then. We looked at each other all shocked, and then we went together. Chapter 16. We ran happily to Hogsmeade. There we saw the stage where GC had played. We ran in happily. MCR were there playing Helena. I was so fucking happy. Gerard looked even sexier than he did in the pictures. Even Draco thought so. I could totally see him getting an erection, but it didn't matter, because I knew that we were the only true ones for each other. I was wearing a black leather mini dress and black leather platinum boots and red ripped fishnets. Draco was wearing a black baggy MCR t-shirt and black baggy pants. Anyway, we started moshing to Helena. We Frenched. We ran up to the front and began to stage dive. Suddenly, Gerard pulled off his mask. So did the others. We gasped. It wasn't them at all. Voldemort and the Death Eaters!
The Death Dealers.
Fuck. Voldemort and the Death Dealers.
What the fuck, Draco? I'm not going to concert with you. Not after what happened to me last time. Even if MCR, and you know how much I like them.
What? 'Cause you know. He gadgeted uncomfortably, 'cause guys don't like to talk about you know what.
Yeah, 'cause you know.
I yielded in an angry voice. We won't do that again, Draco promised. This time we're going with an escort.
Oh my fucking god, WTF, are you even giving to mainstream? So I guess you're a Prep or a Christina or what now?
No!
Are you becoming a Prep or what?
Enemy, I'm not. Please come with me. He fell down to his knees and started singing The World is Black by GC to me. I was flattened, because that's not even a single. He had memorized the lyrics just for me.
Okay, then I guess I have to.
I said, and then we Frenched for a while, and I went up to my room. Bloody Mary was standing there.
I just love my girl.
She said happily. She speaks Japanese, so do I. That means, how do you do in Japanese?
BTW, Willow the fucking poser got expelled. She failed at all her classes, and she skipped math.
Raven, you fucking suck, fuck you.
It's still that fucking bitch right.
I laughed angrily. Well, anyway, we're feeling all depressed. We watched some gothic movies like Death's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Maybe we're out with that too. A kawaii.
Bloody Mary shook her head energetically, lethargically.
Oh yeah, I have a confession. After she got expelled, I murdered her and then Lupin did it with her because he's a necrophiliac. Kawaii!
I commented happily. We talked to each other in silence for the rest of the movie.
Oh hey, BTW! I'm going to a concert with Draco tonight. It hugs me with MCR. I need to wear like the hottest outfit ever.
Bloody Mary nodded energetically.
Oh my fucking god, totally, let's go shopping. In Hot Topic, alright?
Already getting out my special Hot Topic loyalty card.
No.
My head snapped up.
Snaped up.
What?
I could not believe it.
Bloody Mary, are you a Prep? No, girl, no. I found some cool gothic stores near Hogsworth, that's all. Who told you about them?
I asked. Sure, it would be Draco, or Diabolo, or Vampire. Don't even say that name to me. Or me.
And Dumbledore.
She said.
Let me just call our Brahms. OMFFG Dumbledore?
I asked quietly.
Yeah, I saw the map for Hogsmeade on his desk.
She told me.
Come on, let's go.
We were going in a few punk goth stores specially for the concerts in Hogsmeade. The salesperson was, oh my god, hotter than Gerard, except not, because that's impossible, and he gave me a few dresses.
We only have these for the real goths.
The real goths? Yeah, the real goths?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many poses there are in this town, man. Yesterday, Lupin and Snap tried to buy a gothic camera pouch.
He shook his head.
They even know they had a camera.
OMG, no, they go spy on me again!
I cried, running out of the changing room, wearing a long black dress with lots of red tulle coming out, and very low cut with a huge slit. Say it as straight-laced as you can.
These fucking...
Oh my Satan, you have to buy it.
Oh my Satan, you have to buy that outfit.
The salesperson said.
Yeah, that looks totally hot.
said Bloody Mary.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to you free, because you look really hot in that outfit. Hey, are you gonna be at the concert tonight?
Yeah, I actually am.
I looked back at him.
Hey, a BTW. My name's Ebony, Darkness, Dementia, Tata. What's yours?
Tom Red.
He said and ran a hand through his black-dyed hair.
Maybe I'll see you there tonight.
Yeah, I don't think so, cause I'm going there with my BF Draco, you sick pig.
I yelled angrily, but before he could beg me to go with him, Hagrid flew in on one of his black brum, looking worried. Oh my fucking god, Emily! You need to get back into the castle, now!
I need that Boston shopkeep to come back at some point.
It's Tom Ridd.
Oh yeah, I need Tom Ridd.
It's gonna be a twist. That's gonna turn into that. Chapter 17.
Aw, damn.
Tom Riddle gave us some clothes and stuff for free. He said he would help us with makeup if we wanted, because he was really into fashion and stuff. He's bisexual. Hagrid kept shooting it at us to come back to Hogwarts.
What the fuck, Hagrid? Fuck off, you fucking bastard!
Well, anyway, Willow came. Hagrid went away angrily. Hey, bitch, you look kawaii.
Yeah, but not as kawaii as you.
I asked sadly, because Willow's really pretty and everything. She was wearing a short black corset thingy with blood red lace on it and black blood red miniskirt, leather fishnets, and black pointy boots that showed off how pale she was. She has a really nice body with big bobs and everything. She was thin enough to be anorexic. So are you going to the concert with Draco?
Yeah.
I'm going with Diabolo.
Thank fucking God he's
She
getting
answered
involved.
happily. Well, anyway, Draco and Diabolo came. They were both looking extremely hot and sexy. You could tell they thought we were too. Diabolo was wearing a black t-shirt that said 666 on it. He was wearing tons of makeup, just like Marilyn Manson. Draco was wearing black leather pants, a gothic black GC t-shirt, and black Vans he got from the Warp Tour. Bloody Mart was kidnapped at birth, and his real family were vampires. They died in a car crash. Navel converted to Satanism, and he went goth. He was in Slytherin now. He was wearing a black warped t-shirt, black jeans and shoes, and black hair with red streaks in it. We call him Dracula now. Well, anyway, we all went to Draco's black Mercy-Benz. Get it? Because we're gothic. And then his dad, Lucian, gave him... We did pot, coke, crack. Draco and I made out. We made fun of those stupid fucking preps. We soon got there. I gasped. Gerard was the sexiest guy ever. He looked even sexier than he did in pics. He had long raven black hair and piercing blue eyes. He was really skinny, and he had an amazing ethnic voice. We moshed to Helena and some other songs. Suddenly, Gerard pulled off his mask. So did the other members. I gasped. It wasn't Gerard at all. It was an ugly, preppy man with no nose and red eyes. Everyone ran away but me and Draco. Draco and I came. It was Voldemort and the Death Dealers.
You moronic idiots!
He shooted angstily.
Innovator told you to kill vampire. Now he fell, and now I shall kill thou and Draco.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
No, please.
We begged sadly, but he took out his knife. Suddenly, a gothic old man flew in on his broomstick. He had long black hair and a long black bread. He was wearing a black robe that said Avril Lavigne on the back. He shouted a spell, and Voldemort ran away. It was Dumbledore. I said, stop flaming. If you do, then you're a fucking prep. Thanks to Raven for help and stuff. You rock, and you're not a prep. Thanks from a suitor. P.S. The other Eason Dumbledore swore is because he trained to be gothic. So there. I woke up the next day in my coffin. I walked out of it and put on some black eyeliner, black eyeshadow, blood red lipstick, and black, really low-cut leather dress that was all ripped up in stripes so you could see my belly. I was wearing a skull belly ring with black and red diamonds inside. The night before Draco and I went back to the skull. Get it? Skull? Because I'm gothic and I like death? Dumbledore chased Voldemort away. We flew there on our brooms. Mine was black and broom stuff was blood red and blood and broom stuff. There was lace all over it. Draco had a black MCR broom. We went back to our rooms and we, you know what, to a Linkin Park song. Well, anyway, I went down to the Great Hall. There, all the walls were painted black and the tables were black too. But you would see There was a pink pant underneath the black pant, and there were posters of poser bands everywhere, like Ashley Simpson and the Backstreet Boys.
WTF?
I shouted, going to sit next to Bloody Mary and Willow. Bloody Mary was wearing a black leather mini with Good Charlotte t-shirt, black fishnets, and black pointy boots. Willow was wearing a long gothic black dress with blood red writing that was all lacy and came up to your thighs, and black boots and fishnets. Vampire Dracula and Draco came. We started to talk about who was sexier, Mikey or Gerard or Billy Joe Armstrong. The boys joined in because they were bi.
Those guys are so fucking hot.
Navel was saying as suddenly a gothic old man with black beard and everything came. He was the same one who had chased Voldemort away. He had normal tan skin, but he was wearing white foundation and he dyed his hair black. Dumbledore?
Dumbledore!
Dumbledore.
What the fuck? I thought he was just wearing that to scare Voldemort.
Hello, everyone.
He said happily.
As you can see, I gave the room a makeover. What do you think about it?
Everyone from the poser table in Gryffindor started to cheer. Well, we goths just looked at each other all disgusted and shook our heads. We couldn't believe what a poser he was.
Bitty dubs. You could call me Albert.
He called as we left to our classes. What's a fucking poser? Draco shouted angrily as we went to the transformation. We were holding hands. Vampire looked really jealous. I could see him crying blood in a gothic way. Get it, like Gerard? But I didn't say anything. I bet he's having a midlife crisis, Willow shouted. I was so fucking angry. Chapter 19, I'm not okay, I promise. All day we sat angrily thinking about Dumbledore. We were so fucking pissed off. Well, I had one thing to look forward to, the MCR concert. It had been postponed so we could all go. Anyway, I went to the common room sadly to cut classes. Draco was being all secretive. I asked what it was and he got all mad at me and started crying all hot and angsty and sensitive. Bye guys, so hot. No one fucking understands me! He shouted angrily as his black hair went into his big blue eyes like Billy Joel in Boulevard of Broken Dreams. He was wearing black baggy pants, a black MCR t-shirt, and black dye. Get it, instead of tie, because I'm gothic. I was wearing a black leather low-cut top with chains all over it, all the back leather mini, black high-held boots, and a cross-belly fang. My hair was all up in a messy, really high bun like Amy Lee in Going Under. Email me if you want to see the pic.
Excuse me? What about me?
But...
You fucking bastard!
No, wait! It's not what it fucking looks like! But it was too late. I knew what I heard. I ran to the bathroom angrily crying. Draco banged on the door. I whipped and whipped as my bloody eyeliner streamed down my cheeks and made cool tears down my feces like Benji in the video for girls and boys. Raven, this is so our video. I took out a cigarette and started to smoke pot. Suddenly Hagrid came. He had apparated. You gave me a fucking shock. Oh shit, that was him. That's the narrator.
You gave me?
Yeah, you gave me a fucking shock.
You gave me a fucking shock!
I shouted angrily, dropping my pot.
WTF you think you're doing in the girls' room?
Only it wasn't just Hagrid, someone else was with him too. For a second I wanted it to be Tom Ridd, or maybe Draco, but it was Dumbledore.
Hey, I need to ask you a question.
He said, pulling out his black wannabe gothic purse.
What are you wearing to the concert?
Oh no!
It's you know.
Oh.
Fucking continue.
You know who MCR?
No, I just saw there was a concert that a lot of goths and punk were going to. Anyway, Draco had a surprise for you.
Chapter 20. All day I wondered what the surprise was. Meanwhile, I put on black leather mini, a black corset with Urkel lace stuff all over it, a black gothic compact boots. MCR were going to the concert again, since Volksmort had taken over the last one. I slit my wrists while I moshed to MCR in my bedroom all night. Feeling excited, someone suddenly knocked on the door while I was trying on some black cloths and moshing to Thank You, Venom. I got all mad and turned it off, but sacredly, I hoped inside that it was Draco so we could do it again.
What the fuck are you doing?
I shouted angrily, it was Lupin.
Are you gonna come rape me or what?
I yelled. I was allowed to say that because Dumbledore had told us all to be careful around him and Snap since he was a pedo. No, actually. Get it, Hell? Can I please borrow some condoms? He growled angrily.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, so you can fuck your 6-year girlfriend, huh?
Fucker, he said, gong away. Well, anyway, I put on some black eyeshadow, black eyeliner, and some black lipstick and white foundation. Then I gasped. Snake and Lupin were there in the middle of the empty hall doing it, and Tommy was watching.
Oh my god, you ludicrous idiot!
They both shooted angrily when they saw me. Oh, that was supposed to be Snape.
Girl, you ludicrous idiot.
They both shoot. Dobby ran away crying. They got up, though. Normally, I would have been turned on. I love seeing guys do it. But both of them were fucking preps. By the way, Snake has moved to Gryffindor now.
WTF, is that why you want condom?
I asked sadistically. Only you wouldn't give them to me. Lumpkin shouted angrily.
Well, you should have told me.
Lumpkin.
Snake began to shoot angrily, and then I took out my black camera and took a pic of them. You could see that they were naked and everything. Well, excuse me. They both shouted angrily. What was that all about?
It was to blackmail you. So, now next time you see me doing it with my boyfriend, you can't fucking rat me or I show this to Dumbledore. So fuck off, you bastard!
I started to run. They chased me, but I threw my wound at them, and they tripped over it. Well, anyway, I went outside, and there was Vampire looking extremely fucking hot.
WTF with Draco?
Oh, he's being a fucking bastard. He told me he wouldn't come.
Vampire said, shaking his head.
You want to come with me to the concert?
Then, he showed me his flying car. I gasped. It was a black car. He said his dog father, Sirius Black, had given it to him. The license plate on the front said MCR 666. The one on the back said NOB on it. I gasped. We flew to the concert hall. MCR were there, playing. Vampire and I began to make out, moshing to the music. I gasped, looking at the band. I almost had an orgasm. Gerard was so fucking hot. He began to sing Helena, and his sexy, beautiful voice began to fill the hall. And then I heard some crying. I turned and saw Draco crying in the corner. Chapter 21. Later, we all went in the skull. Draco was crying in the common room.
Draco, are you okay?
No, I'm not, you fucking bitch! He shouted angrily. He started to run out of the place in a suicidal way. I stated to cry because I was afraid he would commit suicide.
It's okay, Ebony.
Vampire comfortably.
I'll make him feel better.
You go fuck him and won't you?
Then I ran to get Draco. Vampire came too.
Draco, please come.
He began to cry. Tears of blood came down his pale face. I was so turned on because I love sensitive bi guys. If you're a homophobe, then fuck off. And then we heard some footsteps. Vampire got out his black invincibility cock. We both got under it. We saw the janitor, Mr. Norris, there, shouting angrily with the flashlight in his hand. No, we need better than just screaming. Who's there? He shouted angrily. We saw Filth come. He was under the invisible cloak and started to meow loudly. He mixed the names up.
What? So weird.
It's supposed to be Mr. Filch and Mrs. Norris is his cat, but they switched them. Is anyone there? Yelled Mr. Norris.
No, fuck you preppy little poser, son of a fucking bitch.
Vampire said under his breath in a disgusted way.
Excuse me, who said that?
Yelled Mr. Norris. Then he heard Filch meow.
Filth, is there anyone under that cloak?
Filth nodded, and then Vampire Frenched me. He did it just as Mr. Norris was taking off the cloak. What the? He yelled, but it was too late, because now we were running away from him. And then we saw Draco crying and busting into tears and slitting his wrists outside the school.
Draco! Are you okay?
I guess, though, Draco wept. We went back to our coffins, Frenching each other. Draco and I decided to watch Lake Placid, isn't that depressing, on the gothic red bed together. As I was about to put it in the video, my eyes rolled up and suddenly I had a vision of something that was happening now. There was a knock on the door, and Fug and the Mystery of Magic walked into the school. Chapter 22. All day everyone talked about the misery of magic. Well, anyway, I woke up the next day. I was in my coffin, so I opened the door. I was wearing black lacy leather pajamas. Then I gasped. Standing in front of me were Bloody Mary, Vampire, Diabolo, Draco, Dracula, and Willow. I opened my crimson eyes. Willow was wearing a tight black leather top with pictures of bloody roses over it. Under that, she wore a black poofy skirt with lace on it and black gothic boots, and was attached to the top. Vampire was wearing a baggy Simple Plan tee and baggy black pants and Vans. Draco was wearing a black MCR shirt and black jeans and a leather jacket. He looked just like Gerard Way and almost as fucking sexy. Vampire looked like Joel Madden. Bloody Mary was wearing a tight black poofy gothic dress, and she had ripped so it showed all of her clearage with a white apron that said "Beck" on it, other swear words, and MCR lyrics on it, kind of like the one dress I seen Amy Lee wear. Darkness, who was Jenny, was there too. She was weaving a ripped gothic black dress with ripped stuff all over it, and a lace-up top and thing, and black pointy boots. So were Crab and Goyle. It turns out that Darkness, Diabolo, Crab and Goyle's dad was a vampire. He committed suicide by slitting his wrists with a razor. He had raped them and stuff before, too. They all got so depressed that they became gothic and converted to Satanism.
OMFG!
I yielded as I jumped up.
Why the fuck are you all here?
Enemy, something is really fucked up.
Okay. But I need to put my fucking clothes on first.
It's alright. We have to go now. And you look kawaii anyway. You're so fucking beautiful, Jaco said in a sexy voice.
Oh, alright. But you have to tell me why you're being all erective.
I will. So I just put on some black eyeliner, black lipstick, and red eyeshadow and white foundation. Then I came. We all went outside with Great Hal and looked in from a window. A fucking prep called Brittany from Gryffindor was standing next to us. She was wearing a pink mini and a Hilary Duff tee, so we put up our middle fingers at her. Inside the Great Hall, we could see Dumbledore, Cornelia Fudged, and there shouting at Dumbledore. Doris Rumbridge was there too.
It cannot be!
She shouted angrily.
The school must be closed!
The Backlaw is planning to kill the students, Cornelia Fudge.
You are not fit to be the principal any longer,
said Rumbridge.
You are too old and your Alzheimer's is dangerous. You must retire or retry or Voldemort will kill your students.
Very well!
Dumbledore said angrily.
But we cannot do it! We can't close the school!
I can't get my Dumbledore voice.
There was only one person who was capable of killing Voldemort.
But my Voldemort voice stole my voice. Yeah, kinda.
No, your Voldemort is more legendary. Your
Am I still angry?
Your Dumbledore is deeper.
Yeah, you're still doing Dumbledore.
But we...
Yeah, you had it.
But we cannot do this. We can't close the school. There is only one person who is capable of killing Dumbledore, and she is in the school.
Voldemort. You're Dumbledore.
Killing Dumbledore, and she is in the school. And her name is... ...
Pudding?
Enemy Darkness, Dementia Raven Way.
You got it right at the end there. Draco, Crab, Goyle, Darkness, Willow, Vampire, and Bloody Mary looked at each other. I gasped. Chapter 23.
Yeah.
The door opened and Professor Rumbridge and Cornelia Fudge stomped out angrily. Then Dumbledore and Rumbridge sawed us.
Joey, what the beep are you doing?
Rumbridge shouted angrily. Dumbledore blared at her.
Oops, she made a mistake.
He corrupted her.
She means hi. Everybody come in.
Well, we all came in angrily. So did all the other students. I sat between Darkness and Draco and opposite Bloody Mary. Crab and Goyle started to make some morbid jokes. They both looked exactly like Villevolo. I ate some Count Chocula and drank some blood from a cup. Then I heard someone shooting angrily. I looked up behind me. It was Vampire. He and Draco were shooting at each other.
A vampire! A Draco! Oh, WTF!
You fucking bastard! I want to sit next to her.
No, I do.
No, she doesn't fucking like you, you son of a bitch!
No, fuck you, motherfucker. She loves me, not you.
Shouted Vampire, and then he jumped on Draco. They started to fight and beat each other up. Dumbledore yelled at them, but they didn't stop. All of a sudden, a terrible man with red eyes and no nose flew in on his broomstick. He had no nose and was wearing a gray robe. All the glass in the window he flew through fell apart. Brittany, that fucking prep, started to cry. Vampire and Draco stopped fighting. I stopped eating. Everyone gasped. The room fell silent. Voldemort!
Darth Vader. What?
Just do it.
Emily.
What's with your fucking Voldemort voice now? Just do the laugh. It puts you back in the character.
Emily.
Why is everything Bill Cosby now?
I don't know. It's been so long. It was like 20 pages ago.
You fucking had it before.
Ebony.
That's just your Dumbledore voice now. Darth Vader said evilly in his raspy voice, "Thou hast failed your mission."
Now I failed your mission. Now I shall kill thou, and I shall kill vampire as well. If thou dost not kill him before I then, fuck.
Read the line.
I did.
I shall kill Draco too.
If thou dost not kill him before then, I shall kill Draco too.
Please! Don't make me kill him, please!
No!
There's more lines.
Okay.
Kill him or I shall kill him anyway.
Then he flew away cackling. I bust into tears. Draco and Vampire came to comfort me. Suddenly my eyes rolled up so they looked all cool and gothic. I had a vision where I saw some lightning flash and then Voldemort came in to kill Draco while Draco slit his wrists in a depressed way.
No!
I screamed sexily. Suddenly I locked up and stopped having the vision. Ebony, are you alright? Said Draco in a worried voice.
Yeah.
Everything's all right, enemy.
Perfect.
No, it's not!
Tears of blood went down my face.
Oh, MFG! What if I am getting a present like the ring too?
It's okay, girl.
Said Bloody Mary.
Maybe you should just ask Professor Sinister about what the visions mean, though.
Okay, bitch!
I said sadly, and then we went. Well, we had deviation next, so I got to ask Professor Trevelry about the visions. Anyone want? I would ask you to do.
Trevelry.
I would ask you to do an Asian voice, but you've already fucking.
Sinister.
Konnichiwa, everybody come in. Professor Sinister in Japanese. She smelled at me with her gothic black lipstick. She's the coolest fucking teacher ever. She had long dead black hair with blood red tips and red eyes. Homeroom mom was a vampire. She's also half Japanese, so she speaks it and everything. She and Bloody Mary get along great. She's really young for a teacher. Today she was wearing a black leather top with red lace and long gothic black red dress. We went inside the black classroom with pastors of Emily the Strong. I raised my hand. I was wearing some black nail polish with red pentagrams on it.
Was easy then, Benny. Hey, I love your nail polish. Where you get it, Hot Topic?
Yeah!
All the preps who didn't know what HT was gave me weird looks. I gave them the middle finger.
Well, I have to talk to you about some things. When do you want to do it?
I heard that name.
Okay.
Class of fucking dismissed, everyone. Professor Trevelry said, and she let everyone go. Except for you, Brittany. She pointed at Brittany and some other preps.
Please do exercise 1 on page 3.
Okay, I'm having a rot of vision.
I said in a worried voice. I'm so worried, is Draco going to die? Well, she gave me a black crystal ball to lock in. I looked at it.
What do you see?
I see a barack, a gothic, a scar, and a pentagram.
Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I looked at it. It was Draco. He was looking really sexy, wearing a black leather facet, a black leather gothic Linkin Park t-shirt, and black Congress shoes.
Okay, you can go now. See you, cunt,
said Professor Sinister.
About beachy.
I said, waving. I went to Draco, and Vampire was sitting next to him. We both followed Draco together, and I was so exhibited. Probably the last one tonight. Okay. Chapter 25. I was so excited. I followed Draco, wondering if we were going to do it again. We went outside, and then we went into Draco's black car. Ebony, what the fuck did Professor Trevelry say? Whispered Draco, potting his gothic wet hand with black nail polish on mine.
She said she would tell me what the vision meant tomorrow.
I grumbled in a sexy voice. He took out a heroin cabaret and spiked it and gave it to me in a spork. He started to fly the car into a tree. We went to the top of it. Draco put on some MCR. And all the things that you never ever told me, and all the smiles that are ever gonna haunt me, sang Gerard's sexy voice. We started tilling of each other's clothes fervently. He took off my black thong and my black leather bar. I took off his black boxers. Then he put his throbbing you-know-what in my tool sexily.
OMG, a Draco!
I screamed, having an orgasm. We stated Frenching passively. Suddenly, I fell asleep. I started having a dream. In it, a black guy was shooting 2 gothic men with long black hair.
No, a police don't fucking
No,
kill.
this is just people. Yeah.
No, please don't kill us.
They pleaded, but he just kept shooting them. He ran away in a red car.
No, I'm a fucking dead.
Ebony, what's wrong? As I woke up, opening my icy blue eyes, I started to cry, and tears of blood went down my face. I told Draco to call Vampire. He did it with his black Linkin Park mobile. But the worst thing was, who the people who were shot in the dream were Lucy and Sirius.
I need to bring out my jersey,
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna go ahead and say table that for another time. Maybe.
Table it for the next recording.
Chapter 26. A few mutates later, Vampire came to the tree. He was wearing a black leather Jackson, black leather pants, and a good Charlotte t-shirt. Yep. Back to it. Get them. Do any voice. Honestly, I don't care. Do any voice.
You could, like, not do that voice.
You could not do that voice for another hour and a half.
Hi, Vampire.
Don't do that.
I said flirtily as I started to sob. Draco hugged me sexily. Trying to comfort me, I started to cry tears of blood, and then told them what happened.
Oh, fuck it!
Vampire shouted angrily. He started to cry sadly.
What fucking dick did that?
I don't know.
I said.
Now come, on we have to tell Dumbledore.
We ran out of the tree and into the castle. Dumbledore was sitting in his office. Sire, our dads have been shot, Draco said while we whipped some tears from his white face. Ennaby had a vision in a dream. Double-Audrey started to cockle.
Alright, I gotta get my
Yep,
doobly-door voice right.
double-odor.
And to answer your question, it's Smokahontas.
Harry! Oh, man. Ha ha ha! Ha ha! How's that?
It's a great start. There's still the rest of the
He is
sentence.
gonna read the rest.
Do you guys want to switch characters? Is that what you want to do? Do you want him to take Dumbledore? That's Voldemort. Nailed it.
And how do you expect me to know Ebony's not divisional?
I glared at Dumbledore.
Look, motherfucker!
He said angrily as Dumbledore oh, I think that might have been my line. Sorry.
Whoops.
Look, motherfucker! He said angrily as Dumbledore gasped. You know very well that I'm not decisional. Now get some fucking people out there to look for Sirius and Lucian Ponto,
Okay.
he said in an intimidated voice.
Where...
Where are they?
Where are they?
I thought about it, then all of a sudden,
Long Dawn.
Great.
can you give me a little bit more?
Alright.
Just a little bit more?
Just do the Trisha Takanawa at this point.
Wrong darn!
God damn
My
it.
life.
I told him which street. He went and called some people and did some stuff. After a few mistunes, he came back and said people were going out looking for him. And after a while, someone called him again. He said that they had been found. Draco, Vampire, and I all left our rooms together. I went with Draco to wait in the nurse's office while Vampire went to slit his wrists in his room. We looked at each other's gothic, depressed eyes. Then we kissed. Suddenly, Sirius and Lucian came in on stretchers. And Professor Sinister was behind them. Chapter 27, Vampires Will Never Hurt You. Everyone in the room stated to cry happily, and I had saved them. Draco, Lucian, Sirius, Bond Vampire all came to hug me. The nurse started to give them medicine. Come on, Ennaby, said Professor Sinatra. She was wearing a gothic black leather dress with a corset top and real vampire blood on it and fucking black platinum boots. I have to tell you the fucking position. I looked at Lucian, Seraph, Drake, and Vampire. They nodded. I smelled happily and went into a dark room. I had changed. Professor Sinister took out some black cards. She started to look into a black crucible ball. She said, Terror, I see Drac times are near. She said badly. She peered into the balls. You see, you must go back in time. She took out a time toner like Bloody Mary had. When Voldemort was in Hogwarts, before he became powerful, he got his head broken. Now, do you think he could still become Voxema if he was in love? I shook my head. You must go back inside and seduce him. It is the only way. If he is still evil, then you must cure him. You can come to my room tomorrow, and you can do it.
Okay.
I said sadly. We did death's touchstone. I went outside again, sadly. What fucking happened? Asked Draco and Vampire.
You
Great.
No, that's darkness. Oh wow, I answered this next line. I'll enough.
I think you're darkness.
Which one was darkness? 'Cause
I think-
Goldie Mary's the gay one. Who's that
Oh,
one?
darkness was Ginny.
Darkness was Jenny. Take it.
Yeah, what happened?
As darkness Willow and Boldy Mary, I was about to tell them, but everyone was there. They were celebrating Lucien and Cirrus being fond. Everyone was proud of me, but I just wanted to talk to Draco. They were cheesing my name, and some reporters were there trying to interview Dumbledore. A banner was put up, lots of fucking preps were there, obviously trying to be gothic, wearing the him sign on their hands despite not having actually heard of him. Even Mr. Norris looked happy. A black and red cake had been brought out. Crab and Goik set up some fireworks in the shape of skulls from Wesley's Wizard Wises. I put on my invisibility cloak with Vampire and Draco, and we sneaked outside together. Chapter 28. We went into a black room. The walls were black with portraits of gothic bands like MCR, GC, and Marlon Mason all over them. A big black coffin was in the middle. Red velvet lined the black box. There were 3 chairs made of bones with real skulls in them. I was wearing a black corset bar with purple stuff on it, fishnet suckins and black leather thong underneath. I sat down in one of the chairs dispersedly, so did Draco and Vampire. Vampire asked, potting his alabaster hand on mine. He was wearing black nail polish. I was wearing black nail polish with red crosses on it.
Yeah, I guess.
I said sadly. Draco also put his hand on mine sexily. I smiled sadly with my black lipstick.
But the problem is, I have to seduce a Valdemar. I have to go back in time.
Draco started to cry sadly. Vampire hugged him.
It's okay.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's okay, Bobby, he said finally. But what about me? You're not gonna break up or anything, are you?
Of course not.
Really?
Sure.
We Frenched sexily. Vampire looked at us longingly. Then, I took off Draco's MCR shrift and seductively took off his pants. He was hung like a Stallone. He had replaced the vampire tattoo that said Ennaby on it. Black roses were around it. I gasped. He looked exactly like Gerard Way. Vampire took a video camera. I took off my clothes, then we were in for the rid of a laugh. We started Frenching as we climbed into the coffin. He put his Spock in my you-know-what, and we passively did it. I love you, Bobby. Oh, let me feel you. I need to feel you. He screamed as we got an orgasm. We watched Vampire filmed everything perfectly. Suddenly...
What the fuck are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing? It was Snope and Professor McGoggle. Chapter 29. Oh my Satan! We screamed as we jumped out of the coffin. Snap and Professor McGonagall started to shoot at us angrily. Come now! Preacher McGonagall yielded. We did guiltily. We left the room putting on our clothes. Snoop garbed the caramel and put it in his pocket.
Carve the caramel.
Carve the caramel, holy shit.
Professor, hey, what the fuck? I've been waiting for that voice for like 2 fucking hours. Yeah, Buster, what the fuck are you going to do with that camera? Draco demanded, all protective, looking at me longly with his gothic red eyes. Look, Dumbledore knows your little secret, and if you do this again, then you will go to St. Mungo's, so give me back the camera, one. Ha ha ha. The mystery of Magic thinks he is crazy. There is no way they will believe him. Oh, that didn't have quotes on it. Read your Snoop voice.
No, it's... Wait.
It's Snape. Ha ha ha.
Oh. Okay.
It's missing quotation.
It's me doing the Snape laughter is gonna be tough here. The mystery of Magic thinks he is crazy. There's no way they will believe him.
Snoop laughed meanly. Yes, So shut your mouth, you insolent fools, yelled Professor McGoggle. She made us come into a weird room with white stones all around it. There were all these weird tools in it. Draco started to cry, all sexy and sexative. I started to cry tears of blood. Vampire took out a black handkerchief and started to wipe my red eyes. And then, he and Snoop both took out guns using magic. They started to shoot each other angrily. None of the bullets got on each other yet. I took out my wand. I shouted. Snap started to scram. He dropped a gun. But it was too late. Both of them had ran out of ballots. I stopped to curse. Professor McGoggle did a spell so that we were all chained up. She took out a box of tools. Then she said, "Okay, Cerberus, I'm going to go now." She left. Snap started to laugh evilly. Vampire started to cry. "It's okay, Enemy," said Draco. "Evergreen will be all right. Remember the studio you took off of Snake?" Snape laughed again, and then he took out some whips. Chapter 30. No! We screamed sadly. Snap started loafing meanly. He took out a camera anvilly. Then he came towards Darko. He took some stones out of his pocket. He put the stones around Draco, lit a candle.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing?
I shooted angrily. Snoop laughed meanly. He pulled down his pants. I gasped. There was a dork mark on his you-know-what. He waved his wand and a knife came. He gave the knife to me.
"You must die, vampire.
He said to me.
If you don't, then I'll wrap Draco."
No, you fucking the bastard!
But then Draco looked at me sadly with his evil gothic red eyes that looked so depressed and sexy. He looked exactly like a pentagram between Kurt Cobain and Gerard. But then I looked at Vampire and he looked so smexy too with his gothic black hair. I thought of the time when we screwed and the time I did it with Draco and Dumbledore came and the time where Draco almost committed suicide and Vampire was so sportive. Snipe laughed angrily. He started to pray to Volxamort. He started to do an incapacitation dancing around the Stokes, whipping Draco and Vampire. Suddenly, an idea I had. I closed my eyes, and using my vampire powers, I sent a telepathic message to Draco and Vampire so they would destruct Snape. "Dumbledore will get you!"
Yeah, it's a mystery fun now.
Vampire yelled. Meanwhile, I took out my wand.
You're ridiculous, dunderhead.
Snoop yielded. He took off all of Draco's clothes, just as he was about to rape him.
Crucio!
I shited, pointing my wound. Snipe screamed and started running around the room screaming. Meanwhile, I grabbed my black mobile and sent a text to Sirius. I stopped doing Crucio.
You dunderhead. I'm going to kill...
Shooted Snape, but suddenly Cerberus came. Snake put the whip behind his back.
Oh, hello, sir. I was teaching him something.
He lied, but suddenly Lucian and Professor Travelry came into room, and they and Sirius unlocked the chains and put them around Snap. Then Professor Travelry said, "Come on, Ebony, let's go." Chapter 31.
Oh,
Dude, Gary Oldman.
I always knew you were on Voldemort's
Why do you have like two voices in your entire repertoire?
When have I ever done that?
You've done your little Nicky voice like 5 fucking times.
Have I really?
Sirius said to Snape.
No, I'm not. Teaching them numbers.
You're not even reading anymore. Snap claimed.
Oh, fucking yeah.
No, this is the narrator.
I've never voiced the narrator. You mean the
That's-
Asian chick?
That's literally the only voice you've had this entire 2 hours.
You're being such a dick.
Dab
Oh,
on him.
fucking yeah!
I took some black Volmortserum out of my pocket and gave it to Cerberus. He made Snap dirk it. He did angrily. Then Lucius took out a tape recorder and started playing it while he did curses on Snap. Then Professor Sinister and Lucian made us get out with them while Snape told his secretaries. Lucian took Vampire and Draco to the nurse after thanking me 1,000,000 times. Professor Travelry took me to a dark room. Now I was going back in time to seduce Volxamort. Moving posters of MCR and Nirvana were all over. Hermione, Darkness, and Willow came too. Bloody Mary gave me a black bag from Tom Ridd's store. What's in the bag? Oh no, sorry. That's mine.
What's in the bag?
I asked Professor Travelry. You will see, she said. I opened the bag. In it was a sexy, tight, low-smut black leather gothic dress. It had red corset stuff, and there was a split up the leg. I put it on. My friends helped me put on black fishnets and black pointy boots Willow had chosen. Willow and Darkness helped me put on black eyeliner and blood red lipstick.
You look so fucking kawaii, bitch.
Bloody Mary said.
Thanks.
I said. Okay, now you're going back in Tim, said Professor Sinister. You will have to do it in a few sessions. She gave me a black gun. I put it in a strap on my fishnets like in Resident Evil. Then she gave me a black time tuner. After an hour, use the time turner to go back here, Professor Travelry said. Then she and Bloody Mary put a pensive in front of me. Everyone went in front of it.
Good luck, bitch.
Everyone shooted. Darkness and Willow gave me Death's Touch Sin. Then I jumped sexily into the pensive. Suddenly, I was in front of the school. In front of me was one of the sexiest goth guys I had ever seen. He was wearing long black hair, kind of like Mikey Way, only black. Had green eyes like Billy Joe Armstrong and pale white skin. God damn it. Doesn't fucking say Tom Bombadil. They fucking say it. He was wearing a black ripped up suit with fans. It was Tom Bombadil. Chapter 32. He's a Lord of the Rings character, by the way.
I know.
I said flirtily.
I'm Ebony Way, the new student.
I shook my pale hands with their black nail polish whiffing.
I thought it was Tom Ridd.
Yeah, but like it's the same. Plus it's duh, so you gotta do your New Yorker voice.
Oh, okay. The name's Tom,
He said.
but you could call me Seed.
But you can call me Satan.
But that's the middle name.
We shook hands.
What does this mean? Well, come on, we have to go upstairs.
Satan said. I followed him.
Hey, Satan, do you happen to be a fan of a Green Day?
Oh my fucking god, how did you know?
Satan gasped.
Oh, actually, I like GC a lot too.
Oh my god, me too!
Yeah, they, guess what? They got a concert in Hogsman.
Hogsmeade?
Yeah, that's what they used to call it in these time before it became Hogsmeade in 2000.
He told me all secretively.
And there's a really cool shop there called Hot.
A Tabiki!
I finished happy again. He frowned confusedly.
No. It's called Hot as Shoe.
He smiled scritchily again.
Then in 1998, they changed it to Hot Topic.
Oh, I saw! And now everything was making sense to me.
No, I don't say that.
That's fine. just read.
I saw, is a Dumbledore your principal?
Uh-huh.
He looked at his black nails.
I'm at Slytherin.
OMFG, Smitty!
I don't like her right now. You go to the school? Skull?
Yeah, that's why I'm new. I'm happy.
Suddenly, Dumbledore flew in on his broomstick and started shredding at us angrily.
No talking in the halls!
He had short blonde hair and was wearing a polo shirt from American Ogle Outfers.
Stupid goths!
Satan rolled his eyes.
You're so mean to us, cats and punks, just because we're in Slytherin and we're not preps.
I turned around angrily.
Actually, I think maybe it's because you're the Bark Road.
What the fuck?
Oh, nothing.
Then suddenly, the floor opened.
OMFG, no! I screamed as I fell down. Everyone look at me weirdly.
Hey, where are you going?
Saying that as I fell, I got out of the hole and in it was back in the pensive in Professor Trevorley's classroom. Dumbledum was there.
Dumbledore, I think I just met you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Dumbledore said, trying to be all gothic. Sinister came in. Hey, this is my classroom. Wait, what the fuck, Annabelle? What the hell are you doing?
Me?
I looked at her.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I think that was my line.
Oh, what the?
I looked at her. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
What the hell?
I screamed, forgetting she was a teacher for a second. But she's a goth, so it's okay. Professor Sinister looked sad. I was drinking Voldemort's serum. She started to cry black tears of depression. Dumbledum didn't know about them.
Hey, why are you crying tears of blood?
He asked curiously, touching a tear. Fuck off! We both said, and Dumbledum took his hand away. Professor Sinister started crying again in her chair, sobbing limp in tears. Oh my fucking kid in the bed. I think I'm addicted to Voldemort's serum. Chapter 33.
Yo.
Is this her?
Oh my fucking god!
I shooted sadly.
Should we get you to Santa Manga's beach?
Hell no, she said. Listen, Nagogi. I narrowed your hair.
Gogi.
Next time you go back in time, do you think you could ask Tom Anderson for some help?
Sure, I said the salary. I went outside the door. Draco was there. He was wearing a big Barack GC t-shirt, which was his Panamas.
Hey, sexy. How did... Oh, no, you say hey, sexy.
Here's Rex City.
How did it go, Annabelle? He asked, and a voice was so sexy and low, kind of like Gerard Way when he's talking.
Fine.
I responded. We stared to go back into room. How far did you go with Satan?
Not too far, LOL.
I borked.
Will you have to do it with him?
But not too far.
I shouted angrily. Then I felt bad for shooting at him. I said sorry. We Frenched.
What happened to Snap?
You will see. Draco giggled mistressly. He opened the door. Snap and Lumpkin were there. Sirius was pokering them by staging them with a black knife.
No, period.
It's mine.
Oh, fuck.
I forget my Lupin voice. No, please. Lumpkin bagged a Sirius, started to suck his blood. I laughed statistically. I took some photons of him and Snap being torqued. We took some of Snipe's blood, then Draco and I went back to our rooms. We sat on my gothic black coffin. My clothes were kind of dirty, so I put on my black leather outfit thingy, kind of like the one Swileen has in Underworld. I put on some black platform high heels. Darko put on a Desolation Livers by MCR. Then we sorted to take off each other's clothes. I took off his shit, and he said 6-pack lols. We started to mac out like in The Grudge. He pot his wetness in my you-know-what sexily. I got an orgy.
Oh, Draco! Oh, me fucking good, Draco!
I screamed passively as he got an eructation. I love you, Teobre, he whispered sexily, and then we fell asleep lulled. Chapter 34. I woke up in the coffin the next day. Draco was gone. I got up and put on black tight sexy dress and was all ripped at the end. And there was red corset stuff going up to front and to back, and it came up to my knees. There was a slit in the dress like in Mr. and Mrs. Smurf. I put on ripped flackbushness and black stilton boots. Suddenly, Sorius cocked on the door. I opened it.
Hi, Ebony.
He said,
Geez, why you have to come to Professor Sinister's office? Okay.
I said in a depressed voice. I wanted to fuck Draco or maybe listen to MCR or Evanescence. I came anyway.
So, what the fuck happened at the Snip and Loopy?
I asked Sorius flirtily.
I fucking tortured them.
He answered in a statistic way.
They are in Azkaban now, LOL.
I laughed evilly.
Draco and Vampira! They are excused from school today.
Sodomized moaned sexily.
Right now they're watching The Nightmare Before Xmas.
We went to the office. Professor Sinister was there. She was wearing a gothic black dress that was all ripped all over, kind of like the one Amy Lee wears in this pic. She took out the pensive and the time turner. Enemy, you will have to do another session now. Also, I need you to get Medicare for being addicted. Good luck, Fangs.
I read that as faggot.
And then
That is offensive.
I jumped into the pensive again. Suddenly I looked around. I was in the Great Hall eating Count Chocula. I was mourning. I was sitting next to Satan. On a table was a tall gothic man with long black hair, pale skin, and blue eyes, wearing a suit and black Crinvis's shoes. He was like Charlene Manson. I noticed. He was drinking a portin. Who's he?
Oh, that's Professor Slutborn. He's the Portent's teacher. Ebony?
Yeah?
Did you know that Marilyn Mason is playing Hogsmeade tonight? And they are showing The Exorcise at the movies before that?
Yeah?
Well, want to go to the Contour and movie with me?
Chapter 35, Ghost of You. I went into the Jew room thinking of Satan. Suddenly I gasped. Draco was there. I grasped. He looked as hot as ever, wearing black leather pants and black Lonkin Prack t-shirt and black eyeliner.
Draco, what the fuck are you dong?
Huh? Then I remembered. It wasn't Draco. It was Lucan. He still had 2 arms.
Hi, Rookie. I'm Ebony, the new student. We shook hands.
Yeah, Satan told me about you, Lucian said. He pointed to a group of sexy gothic guys. They were sitting in a corner cutting. It was Sirius, Vampire's dad, and Snap. All of them were wearing black eyeliner and black good Charlotte bland t-shirts. Listen, I'm in a goth band with those guys. We're playing tonight at the Marilyn Mason show as backup. Really, I asked. I think that was you.
Really? I asked.
Yeah. We're called X Black X Tier X. I played the guitar. Spartacus plays the drums, he said, pointing to him. Snap plays the bass. And James plays the guitar to even foe we call Samara after Samara in the ring.
Hey, bestie.
I told them. They gave me death's touch sin. Suddenly I gasped again.
But you don't have a real singer.
I asked. Lucian looked down sadly. We used to, but she did. She attempted suicide by slitting her wrists.
Oh, my fucking god, this is so fucking exciting.
I don't know who Samara is supposed to be, so I'm just gonna continue.
It's okay, but we need a new lead black person.
Yep, just go. Just read.
Well, I said I'm in the banana myself.
Snape. I couldn't believe it. He used to be gothic.
Yeah, we called a bloody gothic girl 666. Do you want to hear me sing?
Yeah, said everyone. So the guys got out their guitars. They began to play a song by Gurnday. I woke disemptstret on the boulevard of broken dreams.
I don't know.
You can do it if you want.
How does that go again? I never heard this song before.
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams.
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams.
I sang
Keep your
sexily. Everyone gasped. And Appleby, will you join the band, please? Begged Lucy and Samara, Sirius and Snap.
Okay.
I shrugged.
Are we gonna play tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, but I knew that I had to get a new outfit. I walked outside wondering how I could go forward in time. Suddenly, someone jumped in front of me. It was Morty McFly. He was wearing a black Ned Trift and black baggy jeans.
What the hell are you doing here?
I will help you go forward in time, Annabelle, he said seriously. Then he took out a black Tim machine, and I went into it, and suddenly I was forward in Tim. Chapter 36. I looked around in a depressed way. Suddenly I saw Professor Sinister, Bloody Mary, Socrates, and Draco, Vampire, and Willow were there too.
Oh my fucking god, the I saw you and Samara and Snap and everything. I can't believe Snap used to be Goofy. Yeah, I know.
Oh, hey there, bitch! Professor Trevelry said in an emo voice, darkening some Volksamortsum.
Hey, fucker! Reason. Satan asked me to a gothic corner in the movie, so I need the sexy new outfit for the date. Or, sir, I'm praying in the gothic band, so I need a new outfit for that too.
Oh my Satan.
Gasped Bloody Mary.
Wanna go to Hot Topic to shop for your outfit?
Oh my fucking shit. Let's have a group cutting session. I can't fucking wait for that, but we need to get some stuff first.
Yeah.
Draco. Darko.
Oh, it's yeah, we need some portions for Professor Trevelry, so she won't be addicted to Volksamorsen anymore. And also, some love potion for Ennaby. Well, we have potion class now, Willow said, so let's go. We went sexily to potions class, but Snap wasn't there. Instead, there was Cornelio Fuck. Hey, what the fuck is Dumbledore?
Shut the fuck up!
Shooted Cornelio Fuck.
Here's an Azkaban now. With Snip and Lupin. He is old and weak. He has cancer. Now do your work.
My friends and I talked angrily.
Can you believe Snap used to be gothic?
Vampire asked surprisingly.
He stomped out.
Oh, Cornelio Fuck.
Yes, yeah! I'm getting Professor Breach! Boom!
He stomped out angrily. My friends and I began talking again. I began to drink some blood mixed with beer. Suddenly I saw Hagrid in the cupboard.
WTF is he doing?
I asked. Then I looked at Draco. He was wearing tons of eyeliner, and he looked sexier than ever. Suddenly, Hagrid, what the fuck are you doing? I looked around. Hagrid was putting something in my glass of blood. Darko and Vampire started to beat him up sexily. God, you're such a poser! Oh no, that's your line.
God, you're such a poser!
I shooted at Hagrid. Suddenly, I looked what he was putting into blood. It was amnesia portion, chapter 37. Darko's point of view, lol. Vampire and I chained Hagrid to the floor.
Oh, me fucking a Satan!
Ennaby said she was so hot.
Maybe I could use amnesia potion to make Satan fall in love with me faster.
But you're so sexy and wonderful. Anyways, ta-ta.
Said Vampire.
Why would you need it?
It's so quiet.
To make everything go faster, LOL.
But you won't have to do it with him or anything, will you?
OMFG, you guys are so scary.
Said Brittany, a fucking prep.
Oh, that someone new.
Shut the fuck up, Willow said. Okay, well anyway, let's go to Professor Trevelry's room. Draco, Ebery, and I went to... God damn it, I hate this writer sometimes. Went to Professor Sinider's room, but Professor Sinister wasn't there. Instead, Tom Ridd was.
Is Tom Ridd supposed to be sane?
No, but just do it.
Oh, hi, fuckers.
He said.
Listen, I got you some cool new clothes.
I took out the clothes from the bag. It was a gothic black leather miniskirt that said 666 on the black. Black Stilton boots, blood red fishnets, and a black corset.
Oh, and the G-fangs!
I said, hugging him in a gothic way. I took the clothes in the bag. Okay, Professor Sinister isn't her. What the fuck should we do? Suddenly, he looked at the sign on the black wall.
Oh, my fucking Satan!
I screamed as I read it. On it said, everyone, Professor Sinister is away. She is too gothic, she is in Azkabanian now. Classes shall be taught by Dumbledore, who is back, but shall not be principal for now. Sincerely, Professor Rumbridge.
Oh, MFG! How could they do that?
Suddenly, Dumbledore came.
What the hell are you doing in my office?
He began to shoot angrily. Suddenly, I saw Morty McFly's black Tim machine. I jumped seductively into it, leaving Draco and Vampire. Suddenly, I was back in Tim. I looked around. It was Professor Slutborn's Ephes. I sneaked around. Suddenly, I saw the amnesia potion on his desk. It was black with blood red pentagrams on it. It was the shape of a cross. I put it in my pocket. Suddenly, the door opened. It was Professor Slutgorn.
Damn! Oh my god, what are you doing, fucker?
He shooted angrily.
I don't know what the fuck are you doing?
I shouted angrily.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't just looking around because I thought it was a caress.
I said, finally hoping he couldn't see the potion in my pocket.
Okay, you can go now.
Said Professor Slutborn. You went to the common room after putting on my clothes. Silas, Samaro, and Snap were there practicing Vampires Will Never Hurt You by MCR.
Oh, hi, you guys.
I said seductively.
Where's the Satan?
Oh, he's coming.
Said Sirius.
BTW, you can call me Hades now.
Suddenly Satan came. He was wearing a smexy black leather Jackson, black Congress shoes, a Slipknot t-shirt, and a black tie.
Okay, I will see you guys at the concert.
It's the wrong voice, I said, and then I went to Satan. Chapter 38. Satan and I walked to his car. It was a black car with pentagrams all over it. On the license plate said 666, just like Draco's car. I went in it, seductively. Stan started to drive. We talked about Satanism, cutting, music, and being gothic.
Oh, my Satan.
It's Voldemort, apparently, so I need you to read it.
Yeah! Oh, my Satan! It's right, it's so fucking hot.
Voldemort agreed as we smoked some weed.
Lol, I totally decided not to commit a suicide when I heard Harena.
I said in a flirty voice.
Hey, Satan, do you know how to care for when the people are addicted to Voldemort?
Just do it.
Is he just Voldemort
Just
now?
do it. Yeah, he's Voldemort now.
Well, I think you have to drink
That's-
I think you have to drink vampire blood.
Suddenly, Voldemort parked a car behind a black movie theater. Satan and I walked outside. We went into the movie tether. We were showing The Exorcist. In it, a boy and a girl were doing it. Suddenly, a serial killer came, lol. Satan and I laughed at the blood, because we're sadists. While Satan was watching the movie, I had an idea. I took Satan's gothic Black Nightmare Before Christmas cigar sexily from his pocket and put some amnesia potion in it. I put it back in his Black Emil, the strange bag. Satan turned around and started to smoke it. Black clouds with red pentagrams in them started to fly around everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not every time.
OMG.
Satan said, jumping up. I gasped because I was afraid he noticed.
Annabelle, guess what?
I knew that the amnesia had worked.
You can do it, I believe it.
Amnesia potion has not been invented yet, so it will not work.
He said.
Too bad, 'cause I wanted to use some on you.
I raised my eye suggestingly, and then he took off my clothes sexily and we started to make out. I took off his shit. He had six-pack just like Gerard Way. We Frenched. Excuse me, but you're gonna have to leave, shooted the lady behind us. She was a prep. I said. Suddenly, I attacked her, sucking all her blood. No! She screamed. All the preps in the theater screamed, but everyone else crapped because Satan and I looked so cute together. Satan and I started to walk outside.
Oh my god, how did you do that?
Voldemort asked in a turned-on voice.
I'm a vampire.
I said as we went into his car.
Seriously?
He gasped.
Yeah, seriously.
I said, drinking some beer. Satan started to drive the car. I smelled happily.
Yeah. It's too bad we didn't get to see the rest of the movie, don't you think?
I said as we kissed passively. Satan parked in the black driveway next to the place where Draco and I had watched GC for the first time. We went inside where Marilyn Mason was playing and started to mosh, lol. Anti-people, now you've gone too far, Jace Christ Superstar, screamed Marlon on the stage. We did the devil fingers. I started to dance really close to Satan. He was so schmecksay. He looked at me all emo with his gothic red eyes, and he looked exactly like Milky Way. I almost said Milky Way. I almost got an orgasm. Suddenly Marilyn Mason stopped singing. I would like to present X Black X Tier X, he said. I ran on stage. Lucy and Samaro, Snap, and Hades were there. They started to play their instruments. I got on stag.
Where is you, Woody? Understood that, you had to hear.
I sang. My voice sounded like a pentagram between Amy Lee and a girl version of Gerard Way. Everyone clapped. Satan got an erection.
I'm not okay.
I sang finally. Suddenly Lucian started playing the song wrong by mistake.
Oh, I'm FG! What the fuck?
Oops, I'm sorry.
You fucking asshole!
You guys were such raps. Come on. Where's the mistake?
Yeah, it's not his fault.
No, he ruined the fucking song!
You guys are stupid.
I shouted it angrily, but it was too late. They all began to fight. Suddenly Samaro took out his knife. OMFG, no, shouted Lucan, but it was too late. James tried to shoot off his arm, and then I jumped sexily in front of the bullet. No! Yielded everyone, but it was too late. Suddenly everything went black. Chapter 39, I'm a trolling genius, lols. I, the American retail-wearing British vampire Sue, coughed up blood. Satan kneeled down beside me.
No, don't die.
I gave him a rueful smile.
I'm sorry. It's something I had to do to fulfill my duty as a noble Gothic American.
Satan sobbed.
I love you.
I love you too. I'll see you in hell.
I mumbled, already finding my surroundings fading to black. Bloody Mary Smith suddenly popped into the room for no apparent reason. She frowned when she realized the room was oddly quiet, but at the sight of Ebony's lifeless body, she screamed. Her face became pale with horror. She screamed for the healers, Dumbledore, McGoogle, and every single person she could think of. Suddenly, a glow started to surround the body of Ebony. Everyone started in shock. Her body started to lift ever so slowly, and then to everyone's shock, it started to incinerate. When everyone realized what was happening, they rushed over to try and rescue the body, but it was too late. The Sioux became nothing more than a pile of ashes. A loud resounding of everyone bellowing, "No!" filled the room. A flash of white light from the ashes then started to bounce around the room. Everyone cowered in fear and were temporarily blinded. When it was all over, things changed. All the silly goth clothes dropped from everyone's bodies, and in their place, clothes the characters would normally wear in canon appeared on their bodies. When everyone got over the shock of becoming free of the gothic power, everyone cheered. Everyone started singing Ding Dong, the Sue is dead. Well, that is, until all the HP characters realized the true implications of becoming more canon-like again. All the characters who were supposed to be dead fell to the floor, their bodies cold and lifeless. Harry and Voldemort started dueling. On the left side of the two, the battle of the light side and the dark side were reaching a climax. And, because the replacement author also likes to screw around with canon, Draco and Hermione fled the scene and got married. Meanwhile, down in hell, Ebony shed a single tear because of her current situation. A situation that would live on for all eternity, or at least until the end of fanfiction time. She lost it all, but she knew she had to remain strong. Nothing would ever break her down. She looked down over her pale body and frowned.
Where are my emo colors?
She asked herself in confusion, and then it occurred to her. For her shirt, she was wearing a bright pink polo with a little seagull on it. Below that, she was wearing a denim miniskirt with the destroyed look on it. Paired underneath that skirt were leggings with a little moose at the bottom. And then Ebony realized on her shoulders she was carrying a pretty bag with an eagle on it that said "Live Your Life" written all over the bag. Ebony suppressed the urge to scream. Here she was decked out in clothes prepped to the extreme, wearing stuff from Abercrombie & Fitch, American Eagle, and Hollister. Panicked, Ebony hastily tried to take off the Hollister polo, but underneath it, there was another Hollister polo underneath. Ebony frowned, and looked under her shirt. All she saw was a bra underneath. Ebony tried to remove the shirt again, but to her frustration, there was yet another polo to replace it.
This is unlogical, and it does not make any sense.
Ebony bellowed out to the air. She failed to see the irony in her statement, how hypocritical her words were, seeing as she was practically calling the kettle black here. Ebony slit her wrists and mumbled to herself.
Me good.
End crap fic. I woke up in Denorce's office on a special gothic coffin. Hagrid was in the bed opposite me in a coma 'cause Vampire and Draco had bent him up. Mr. Norris was cleaning the bathroom.
Oh, I'm certain what happened.
I screamed. Suddenly, Voldemort came. He looked less mean than usual.
Get the fuck out, you fucking bastard!
Thou hast not.
Yes.
Yay. Thou have not killed Vampire yet.
He said angrily. Suddenly, he started to cry tears of blood, all selective.
Voldemort? OMFG, what's wrong?
Suddenly, Lucy and Professor Sinister and Sirius came. Bloody Mary and Vampire were with them. Everyone was holding black boxes. Voldemort disappeared.
OMFG, enemy, you're alive!
Screamed Vampire. I hugged him and Bloody Mary.
What the fuck happened? Oh, my shit! Am I like dead now? Ebony, you are almost shy.
Said Sirius.
But the battle could not kill you since you were from another time.
But fangs anyway, said Lucian, holding Ute's arm. I gasped. He had 2 arms.
OMG, I cannot believe vampires that shot you.
Well, to be honest, Snap was possessed by Snap.
Yeah, he was a spy. He was really a death dealer.
And he was such a fucking poser, too. He didn't even really know who GC were until I told him. Well, anyway, everyone started to give me presents. I was opening a black box with red 666s on it when I gasped. Mr. Norris looked up angrily, 'cause he hated goths.
Hey, has anyone fucking seen Draco?
No. Draco told me he would be Watching Who's of Wax, said Professor Trevelry. He doesn't know that you're better. Anyway, the nurse said you could get up. Come on! I got up suicidally. Lucien, Sirius, and Professor Sinister left. I was wearing a black leather night gun. Under that, I had on a sexy black leather bra, trimmed with black lace, with a matching thong that said Gothic Girl on the butt, and sexy fishnet that kind hooked onto my thong.
That's a lot.
I put on a black fishnet top under a black MCR shirt, a black leather mini with black lace and Congress shoes. I left the hospital wings with Bloody Mary, Willow, and Vampire. I'm off jail. Let's celebrate.
We could go see House of Wax with Jacko.
Let's go listen to GC and cut ourselves. 666.
We opened a common room door sexily, and then I gasped. Draco was there, doing it with Snap. He was wearing a black shirt with 666 on the front and baggy jeans.
You fucking prepper!
We all yielded angrily.
You betrayed us,
shooted Vampire angrily as he took out his black gun. No, you don't understand, screamed Draco sadly as he took his thingy out of Snake's. No shit, you fucking suck, you preppy bastard, said Willow, trying to attack him. I ran suicidally to my room. I sexily took out a steak. Enemy, no! Screamed Draco, but it was too late. I had slit my wrists with it. Suddenly, everything went black again. Chapter 40. Lol, someone has taken my account over. I woke up in Denorce's office on a special gothic coffin. Hagrid was in bed. God damn it, they're doing this shit again. Were they fucking...
Repeat everything?
I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward. I'm not reading this again. Hose of Wax. Listen, you fucking prep. Enemy, no. Why? That they literally just did the same thing again. Chapter 41.
I think it's some...
When I woke up, I was in a strange room. I looked around. I was wearing the same outfit I had when Is performed with Black X Tier X. I looked around confusedly. It was Denorce's office, but it looked different. On the wall was a pic of Marilyn Manson. There was also a gothic black Beatles calendar with a picture of the Beatles wearing eyeliner and black clothes. On it said 1980.
I'm back in Tim again.
I screamed loudly. Suddenly, Satan, this is actually Voldemort. Voldemort was wearing a black leather Jackson, black tight jeans, and fishnet pants. He looked so sexy, I almost had an orgy.
Oh my fucking god, Enemy, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay for your information. Oh, I'm good in my day.
Because I remembered I had jumped in front of the bullet from James' gun. And I also remembered seeing Draco do it with Snap. I guess that was all I had when I slit my wrists. I went back in Tim instead of dying. I know I could go forward in time if I found a time toner or that time machine.
No, you're not dead.
Satan reassured suicidally as he smoked a cigarette sexily and smoke came all over his face.
You're a vampire, so you can't die from a bullet. Come on now, let's go see how Harry's dad is doing.
I know that the real reason I didn't die from the ballet was because I was from the future.
What the fuck? James almost shot Lucius.
I said indigoily. I knew that James had really been possessed, but I didn't want him to know I knew.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. He had a headache. He was under a lot of stress.
Satan reasoned evilly.
I guess that's okay.
Because James hadn't really shot Lucien. Also, I know that Lucien would now have 2 arms instead of 1. I walked seductively outside with Satan. Suddenly, I saw a totally sexy gothic bi guy. He had bleached blonde hair with black streaks up to his ears and was wearing gothic black eyeliner, a black Green Day shirt, black Congress shoes, and black baggy pants. He walked in all sexily like Jared Way in the video I Don't Thrill You Lick I did yesterday, and you could see a black tear on his face like the woman in the video.
Hey.
He said, I don't think it's Voldemort. That works.
But it is.
Who the
No,
fuck
it's
is
Hedwig.
that?
I asked him because I did not know him.
This is Hedwig.
That's Voldemort. Dude.
Fucking idiot.
Dude, this is
And the
Hedwig.
hay was Voldemort too.
No, it wasn't,
Okay.
It was Hedwig.
This is Hedwig.
said Volksamort.
He used to be an X-Black X-Tier X2, but he had to drop out because he broke his arm.
Hedwig.
I said seductively, even though I was not trying to be.
Oh gosh, hi Ebony.
He answered, but then he ran away because he had hair of magical creature. He was humming Welcome to the Black Parade under his breath.
Bye.
I said all sexily.
That was Hedwig. He used to be my boyfriend, but we broke up.
Satan said sadly, looking at his black nails.
OMFG, I can get you back together.
I said, fingering something I didn't know was in my pocket. A black cute is what we aim for, Cydio iPod that I could take videos with.
Okay, you can forget about your classmate for now, Hedwig. I'm going to show you something great.
I led them to the Great Hall.
Come on, you guys.
Lucian, James, Sirius, and Snake were all in the Great Hall. Lucian wouldn't talk with James because he had tried to shoot him.
Go fuck yourself, you fucking douche.
He shouted at him.
Draco's never going to be friends with Vampire now, bitch. Yeah, go fuck yourself, Samara.
Snape agreed, but I know he was lying because it had been his fault James had almost shot Lucian.
Be quiet, you guys.
I said sexily. My plan was working out great. Now I can make Voldemort good without doing it with him. Now Vampire's dad would never die.
Okay, Satan and Hedwig. You guys can start making it out.
I said, and I started to film them with the iPod.
Cool.
Said Sirius as Voldemort and Hedwig started to make out sexily. We watched as they started to take each other's clothes off sexily. Tomorrow, Sirius, Snake, and Lucian all watched because they were probably bi. I know Snape was bi.
Oh my fucking god! Voldemort!
Screamed Hedwig as his Glock touched Voldemort's. But suddenly everything stopped as the door opened and in came Dumbledore and Mr. Norris. Chapter 42, The Black Parade. I sat depressedly in Dumbledore's office with Hedwig, Satan, James, Sirius, Snap, and Lucian. Dumbledore was sitting in front of us cruelly. He looked more young than he did in the future. He had taken the iPod away and was now listening to a shitty Avril Lavigne song.
What the hell is this anyway?
He cackled meanly. I hoped he didn't find out that I was from another time.
Whatever you do, don't blame I believe you.
Yeah, Sirius was trying to get Satan and Hedwig back together.
Be quiet, you Satanist.
Dumbledore cackled.
If you're lucky, I'll send your old to Azkaban. That was easy to copulate into the Great Hall.
He changed the song on the iPod to an NSYNC song. Suddenly I noticed something strong about the iPod. It was slowly chonging. Dumbledore didn't notice.
Are you fucking a pussy?
I bet you've never heard of GC!
James said. Now I know what the iPod was chonging into. Morty McFly's Tim Machine. Shut up, Joms, Draco's dad shouted.
Yeah, shut up.
Snake said preppily.
No, you shut up, Dumbledore.
I've had enough of you Satanists in my school.
Shouted Dumbledore furiously. Suddenly I grabbed the iPod in front of him.
Everyone, jump in before it's too late.
I jumped into it, but only one other person jumped in. It was Satan.
You're tunage!
Screamed Dumbledore wisely as we went. I looked around. I was in the Slytherin conman room with Satan. I was wearing a black plaid miniskirt with hot pink fishnets, a sexy black MCR corset, and black stiletto boots with clink pentagrams on them. My earrings were Blake, Satanist sins, and my raven hair was all around me to my mid-back.
Hey, cool, where is this?
He asked in an emo voice.
This is the future. Dumbledore's iPad that he tried to take away from me was also a time machine.
Cool, what's an iPad?
It's something you use to listen to music.
Oh my fucking god, cool, wait. What's the four-letter word for dirt?
I give Zen.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure you're still the same person.
Suddenly, some of my friends walked in. Oh my god, you're fucking alive, said Ginny, wearing a black leather jacket, black baggy pants, and a gothic black from first to last shirt. I explained to her why I was still alive. Konnichiwa, bitch, said Willow. She was wearing a black corset showing off her boobs with lace all around it and red stripes on it. With it, she was wearing a black leather miniskirt, big black boots, white foundation, black eyeliner, red eyeshadow, and black lipstick.
Hey, motherfucker.
Said Diabolo with his red hair. He was wearing a black Panic at the Disco shirt and black baggy pants.
Hey, who's that? I'm an air.
Bloody Mary questioned as she walked in wearing a black t-shirt with a red pentagram on it with lace at the bottom, red leather pants with black lace and black stilettos.
Oh, it's Satan.
I told her and she nodded, knowing the truth. Suddenly, Satan started to cry. Are you okay, Satan? We asked concernedly.
I'm a fucking guardian from the future. What if you don't like me anymore, cause we're different from different times?
No, I still like you.
I said sexily to him.
Okay.
He said assuredly. I let him listen to Teenagers by MCR on my iPod while I was about to go outside to find some things. I gave Diabolo a signal to keep Satan occupied. Satan fell asleep. I took the iPod. I was about to walk outside. Professor Sinister ran in. She was wearing a gothic black mini dress with depressing black stripes, white and black stripped tights, and red Converse shoes. She was wearing lots of black eyeliner. Oh my fucking god, where's Draco? How did Snap get back here? I thought he was in Azerbaijan.
Oh my fucking god, where's the Draco? How did the Snap get back here? I thought he was in Azerbaijan.
I asked sadly. Ebony, I was so worried about you, but no, you can't fucking die because you're a vampire. Snape came back because that girl Brittany feed him. I never liked her. She was a bad student. Trevelry said reassuredly.
That bitch! Did she also free Hagrid and Lupin?
I shooted angrily. I hated Brittany. She was a fucking prep. Yes, they are on the roof at this scare. Dumbledore is back. Cornelia is on his way to help everyone. Tell everyone you see to rock themselves in their conman room, Trevelry said worriedly.
Okay, but where's Draco? How come he wasn't doing it with the Snap?
I don't know where, but I know he almost tried to commit suicide after he saw you almost kill your son.
Oh my god, it's terrible!
I gasped. Satan was still asleep, so he couldn't tell what was going on. Then I said,
Listen, everyone! I have something important to do. In the hour, everyone's bed.
With that, I ran out. Good luck, Tara.
Good luck, Tara.
Everyone cried. I ran sexily down the stairs into the great hall while the portraits around looked scared at me. There was hardly anyone else in the stairs, and there was an atmosphere of horror. On the way, I saw Brittany laughing on the stairs. She was wearing a slutty pink shirt with flowers on it and blue jeans skirt, Abercrombie and pink stilettos. She looked just like a pentagram of those fucking preps Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan.
You fucking bitch!
No, you're totally a bitch. Now Voldemort will, totally kill you. I shouted selectively, pontificating my black wand, and she started screaming because she was being tortured. Ah, and I laughed sadistically. No, help me, please. Well, Brittany screamed terrifiedly. I put up my middle finger at her. In her hand, I saw the video camera Snape and Lumpin had used to take the video of me. I put the tape of Voldemort, doing it with Hedwig onto it. Then I continued to run down the stairs with the camera. When I had reached the Great Hall, I saw Vampire Potter.
Vampire Potter!
We hugged each other happily. He looked at me with his gothic red eyes and spiky black hair. Around them were black eyeliner and eyeshadow. He was wearing black leather Jackson leather pants, a Panic at the Disco concert shirt, and his black Congress shoes. He looked more like Joel from Good Charlotte than ever.
I'm so worried you died.
Moaned the vampire.
I know, but I'm a vampire, LOL. When I woke up, I was back in 1980. So, anyway, I brought the Voldemort from where he was young with me. Draco!
Draco? You mean that fucking poser who betrayed you?
And that's his dad.
Like father, like son. That's
Vampire snarkled with anger in his sexy
Snarkle.
voice.
I know, but we have to find him.
I'll do it then.
Harry said angstily.
Okay.
I agreed. Suddenly, all the lights in the room went out, and then the Dork Mork appeared.
Oh, fucking Satan.
Harry shouted.
I think Voldemort has died.
I said anxiously.
I forgot how to find Draco. I guess we should separate.
Okay.
Vampire said, deeper-eating. Sadly, I ran into the Great Hall. Chapter 43. I walked sexily into the Great Hall. It was empty except for one person. Draco was there. He sat in deadly bloom in his black 666 t-shirt and his baggy black pants. He had slit his wrists. I felt mad at him for having sex with Snape, but I felt sorry for him. He looked just like Gerard Way with his red eyes and his pale white face.
Draco, are you okay?
I'm not okay, he screamed depressedly. I thought of the MCR song and I got even more depressed because that song always makes me cry. I gave him a pot cigarette and he started to smoke it.
Oh, Draco. Why did you do it with that fucking bastard Snape?
Draco began to say, but suddenly Lupin and Mr. Norris apparated into the room. They didn't see us. I'm so glad me and Snape were freed, said Lupin. Damn! This job would be great if it wasn't for the fucking students, Mr. Norris agreed.
Pop, I believe him.
I yielded angrily, pointing my wand at them. No! Lupin shouted as chains came on him. Mr. Norris ran away.
You fucking pervert!
I said, laughing with depths of evil and depressedness in my voice.
Now you have to tell us where Voldemort is or I'm going to torture you.
I don't know where he is, said Lupin. Suddenly, Satan and Vampire ran into the room. Vampire didn't know who Satan was, really.
I'm a Satan. We're so worried about you guys.
Can you, read a little louder? Because it's, not even picking up.
I'm a Satan. We're so worried about you guys.
There's a little Christoph Waltz there. Vampire said I looked sexily at Draco with his gothic red eyes with contacts, black t-shirt that said 666 on it, and pale skin like Gerard Way. Vampire with his sexy black hair and red eyes just like Frank Lero, and Satan who looked just like Brandon Urie then. I selectively took the caramel from my pocket, and then I began Frenching Draco sexily. Lupin gasped. Draco began to take off his clothes, and I could see his white sex pack. Then Vampire took off his clothes too. We all began making out together sexily. I took off my black leather bra, my black lace thong, and the rest of my clothes. Everyone took their Glocks out except for me. I'm a girl, lol.
Oh, Miss Satan, Draco!
I screamed as he put his hardness in my thingy. Then he did the same thing to Harry. I began making out with Satan, and he joined in. Oof! Cried Vampire.
Oh, Vampire! Vampire!
I screamed.
Oh, Satan!
Yelled Harry and Pleasure. Lupin watched in shock. We took turns doing torture curses on him because we were all sadists. Suddenly, a big black car that said 666 on the license plate flew straight through the windows, and Snap was in it. Chapter 44. That's me car! Shooted Draco angrily, but suddenly it was revealed who was in the car. It was Snape.
I shall free you, Lupin, but first you must help me kill these idiotic dunderheads.
He said cruelly from the car as it flew circumcising above us.
Every darkness, the Mensa Raven way must be killed. Then the dark Lord shall never die.
You fucking prep! Yelled Draco. Then he looked at me sadly. I forgot to tell you, Ebony. Snape made me do it with him. I didn't really have sex him, but he's a rapist. We all put our clothes on quickly except Satan. We were so scared, but Satan didn't change. Instead, he changed into a man with green eyes, no nose, a gray robe, and white skin. He changed into Voldemort.
I knew who they were all doing.
I know who they were all along.
Good enough.
He cackled evilly and sarcastically at me.
Now I should kill those.
Thunder came in the room.
Oh, please don't kill us!
Pleaded Vampire. Suddenly, Willow, Bloody Mary, Diabolo, Ginny, Dracula, Fred and George, Hagrid, McGonagall, Dumbledore, Sirius, and Lucian all ran in.
What is the meaning of this?
Dumbledore asked all angrily, and Voldemort looked away. He did a spell, and suddenly his broomstick came to him sexily. Voldemort flew above the roof evilly on his broomstick.
Oh my god.
Slugborn gasped.
The Dark Lord shall kill all of you, and then you must submit to him.
Snape ejaculated menacingly.
You fucking preppy fags.
Sirius shouted angrily.
Whoa.
I know a 4-letter word. Word for dirt.
Yes!
Screamed Harry, but the sparks from his wand only hit Draco's car. It fell down. Snap quickly crawled out of it and picked up the CryoChamber.
Oh my fucking god!
I cried because the video of me in the bathroom, the video of me doing it with Draco, and the video of Satan doing it with...
If you kill me, then these videos will be shown to everyone in the skull. Then you can be just like that gothic girl, Paris Hill.
No! FYI, I have the picture of you doing it with Lupin!
Oh, snap.
What's she talking about? Lupin slurped as he sat in chains.
I saw tears. She's gonna show everyone the picture.
Harry shouted angrily. Shut up! Lumpkin roared.
Foolish ignoramuses!
Yielded Voldemort from his broomstick.
Thou shalt all die soon!
Think again, you fucking muggle poser.
Harry yelled, and then he and Diabolo and Navel both took out black guns, but Voldemort took out his own too.
You guys are in a rat in the standoff!
I shouted dispiritedly.
I got Neville's wand!
cried Voldemort, and suddenly Neville's wind was in his hands.
Now I shall kill all Fee and Ebony, you will die.
He made lightning come all over the place.
Save us, Ebony!
Dumbledore cried. I cried sexily. I just wanted to go to the common room and slit my wrists with my friends while we watched Shark Attack 3 and Saw 2 and do it with Darko. But I knew I had to do something more impotent. I shooted. And that is the end of my Immortal. Jesus
Doesn't even
punch me in the
fucking
fucking face.
end with any.
Fuck me.
Like resolution.
Yeah.
It just ends with
She just
her
just
technically saying abracadabra.
No, it's abracadabra.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
Thanks for tuning
Kadabra?
in for the Jack Nicholson Power Hour.
Shut the
I really
fuck up.
appreciate
Let me
it.
let me fucking tell you something. If you ever goddamn ask me to do the Asian voice ever again, I'm gonna make you listen to this entire fucking
I think it was enough.
Your Asian
I think
voice
it's enough.
your Asian voice just got longer and longer with every sentence you had.
I-
It's almost like you just drawed it out with every word. It was, and you over there, your fucking Voldemort and Dumbledore is the same, but off by screaming. Your volume is the only difference. And you over there, your Harry Potter voice, where was it? It came in once. I depended on you for that Harry voice, but your Snape, fucking beautiful.
I had your Snape and your Tom Ridd.
Hey, it's me, Tom Ridd.
I was gonna, I realized at the end of it, Tom Ridd should have been Tom Ring. It's me, Tom Ring. Come get a car.
God damn it.
I'll buy your car and fuck it in front of your family, and you get $5,000 extra dollars. You'll get a new car. I'm Tom Ring.
Well, you asked me to do two old man voices, and big surprise, they blend together eventually.
I could have given you Hagrid as well. You could have had the trifecta.
I probably would have gave him peanut butter mouth.
I want everyone to know that I hated this.
At the end of this, I'm surprised there's no Tanya voice, too.
People are probably going to eat this up because they love our stupid shit, but let me just tell you, everyone listening, that this caused me physical pain to read. It took us 2 weeks to do this, and what hurts the most is this is probably our longest episode to date. Oh.
Probably worst.
Yeah, I second that.
There's some bad episodes out there. I don't know.
I don't think anybody's gonna make it to this portion where we're talking about the end of the episode, because I think they're gonna give up halfway through.
I'm so glad this
Possibly
was the first episode I came back for.
I'd like to think there are
was
three
so
people I
fucking
could think of
stoned that he couldn't even
four
read a
people I
story.
could think of that might
was a
stick
rough
it
day.
out.
That's fine.
No,
There's a lot of editing that needs to go on. We'll listen to any episode that he's in.
That's not true. He doesn't listen to anything. So I have one friend who listens to any Frowns episode. Kitty over in New Zealand likes to get really high and listen to the shitty Frowns episodes. There's Ben.
So all of them.
I appreciate your love and support.
Billy fucking Wilkinson is probably going to listen to this, but may God have mercy on your fucking soul. And naturally, I got to give a shout out to Star Eve. Jamie listens to every single episode while she's at work and comments on everything. So, congratulations, Jamie. You made it to the worst episode on the planet.
Congratulations. How do you feel about yourself?
I bet she wishes she was dead.
Shout out to Snape.
I wish I was dead. Shout out. There it is. Ronald
Alan Rickman does not deserve any of this. Sure he does. Rest in peace. Right.
Fuck. Does anyone have anything to say about this story?
Never read it again, please.
It
was 69 pages long.
It was 69 pages long.
Yeah.
That's probably why they repeated some of the same chapters over and over again to get to that point.
My fucking back hurts.
Yeah, same.
Never get old, guys. If you're
kill yourself. The only
It's because sitting up like this for
someone recently came out and admitted to being the author for this piece and was met with a lot of ridicule.
They should be shot.
And she said, it's just a prank, bro.
Good for her.
And that's what she did. Apparently she writes professionally, and it has caused some sourness to enter her life.
So she wasted however many hours of her life to
Probably
write
not
this
too
piece
many.
of shit.
We probably wasted more reading it than it took for her to write it.
Nice.
You think so?
I don't know, man. If I ever have to describe gothic clothing, I'm gonna have retarded mouth for the next 2 weeks because I've been reading incorrect for the last 3 hours.
Large black Jackson.
Black leather Jackson.
Black leather Jackson.
Red stripes. Gothic. Black thong underpants.
Black bed.
Black
Can we talk
stripes.
about where it said she was
coffin,
wearing a thong
leather.
and it said
something on the back? I don't think she knows what a thong
goth
is.
girl.
Something.
on the butt
like goth
cheeks.
booty.
Yeah,
Where's it written?
Maybe on that strap, like the top strap,
Yeah, the
the top
butthole.
string.
You know, the butthole floss right there.
I can't say I've been in a Hot Topic in the past couple of years, but this is maybe going to continue to never go back into a Hot Topic for the rest of my life.
I go there for some graphic teas. They have some nice teas. Every
I
once
like
in a while.
drinking peach tea.
Great.
That's my name. Peach Tea Dream
Not-
Team.
Yeah, not
hate you.
sponsored. Peace Tea is the fucking shit. You need to sell in more
So
stores.
this was Lots Pasta episode 139. Welcoming back Frowns McBoohoo on the show.
DJ softball tiptoes.
And I was here with
That's what it was, right?
Harry Handjobs.
DJ softball tiptoes.
Harry Handjobs and Jack Reach Around, along
That's a classic.
with Frowns McBoonpoon.
And remember, if you're
Surprised you
vegetarian,
didn't use
collard green pasta.
Terrence Howard.
fuck.
Also.
Just end it. Just end it all. Turn it off.
Oh, we're never gonna read anything like this ever again.
We're all
so.
just gonna get in my car, go up to the top level of the casino,
Fucking
just
go,
drive
baby.
off.
Hey, I'd appreciate
But we're gonna
it.
roll
What if we
out,
flew?
and we're not gonna tell
What if we
Frowns
flew where?
McBoongie.
What if we flew, Harold?
To a new life where I could be Trisha.
I'm fucking ready.
And I'll
Let's
be
go.
Choicey. Choicey Benechek.
And I'll be Martin Luther King Jr.
No, I want to end. No. What?
Black man.
It was all a dream.